One more word, nigga, and it's on. Y'all niggas ready for this or what? Come on. It's like this. Let's do this, nigga. Let's go. Now where you from is where you at, and where you at is on your back. Pay attention to the facts and tell me what you niggas lack. Lack the skills to keep it real, y'all niggas really need to chill. Show you busters what's the deal, cause it's a must, you gon' get real. Feel my soul and my presence, matter of fact, my whole essence. In about 4 seconds to last, nigga, you'll ever be checking. Feel the rain and the thunder, bet the pain to make you wonder how our body can be so cold in the middle of the summer. Dumb and dumber niggas die when they don't mind they business, as God is my witness. It's too late for forgiveness. Still this realest nigga clutching the mic, disrupting your life, and I told you twice. Play me false, pay the cost, it won't be a pretty sight. Older young niggas, I don't roll with dumb niggas, don't take it the wrong way. I got love for some niggas, but niggas these days just don't know how to behave. Wanna be brave, meet the grave, then it's too late to ever be saved. Nigga, one word out your mouth and you gon' see what I'm about. You seem to love to run your mouth, but ain't a damn thing coming out. One more word out your mouth and you gon' see what I'm about. You seem to love to run your mouth, but ain't a damn thing coming out. This ain't the days of the past, boy, I will lay your ass right down on the grass, throw you out with the trash. Think it's a joke, you better hope that you get choked. Wanna provoke, and that's gon' be all that she wrote. Try to stay calm through the storm, but niggas like the fuse to the bomb. Niggas like to prove that they strong. What kind of drugs is you on? You wanna die, don't you nigga? Don't lie, you want to nigga. Standing right in front you nigga. Now what you gon' do nigga? If I'm stressing damn and I'm guessing game, that niggas keep testing man. It's just a shame, who can I blame? They all the same, attitudes gon' change. Run for your weapon, play with niggas like my steps and teach them a lesson. Keep them guessing, if they guessing, I ain't let a nigga live for no more seconds. Left regretting, cave your chest and show no type of expression. Then continue on my mission. This to me just ain't gon' work. My history up on this earth ain't gon' change because of you. You the first to meet the dirt. One more word out your mouth and you gon' see what I'm about. You seem to love to run your mouth, but ain't a damn thing coming out. One more word out your mouth and you gon' see what I'm about. You seem to love to run your mouth, but ain't a damn thing coming out. I breathe the breath of fallen leaders, death to all non-believers. No mercy in my eye, been like that since the fetus. Jesus, tell me what to do when I wanna be true to you, but they leaving me no choice. My voice is only heard by a few. Some people just don't listen. Ain't no peace until there's killing. I speak and make decisions, then release upon these children. And we all God's children, but look at how we living. So many fights over religion, so many nights up in prison. People just can't get along. One more word and it's on. From dusk till it's dawn, get touched and you gone. I don't hang in no clubs and I ain't slang, get no drugs. And the man up above, the only one that show me love. So anybody that I see is my enemy. Everybody that ain't me is my enemy. Anybody that ain't my blood is my enemy. Everybody don't show me love is my enemy. One more word out your mouth and you gon' see what I'm about. You seem to love to run your mouth, but ain't a damn thing coming out. One more word out your mouth and you gon' see what I'm about. You seem to love to run your mouth, but ain't a damn thing coming out.
Do you really believe that garbage?
It's not about believing, it's a matter of fact.
So you believe
the people over here who run this nation support injustices over there. You probably don't even know what happened in the 1940s.
In any country, prison is where society sends its failures. But in this country, society itself is failing.
I'd like to punch him in the face, I'll tell you.
You won the evangelicals,
We won with young. We won with old. We won with highly educated. We won with poorly educated. I love the poorly educated.
Grab him by the pussy.
I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
Let's go to war. Let's go to war.
We are not at war with Muslims.
Let's go to war.
We don't have a beef with Muslims.
Let's go to war.
We want to be friends with
Let's go
Muslims
to war.
and Muslim children.
Let's go to war.
We're fighting evil people. It's important for the boys and girls of Thurgood Marshall to know
Let's go to war.
that we're fighting evil.
Donald J. Trump is calling for a total and complete shutdown of Muslims entering the United States until our country's representatives can figure out what the hell is going on.
Olivia Gondak, it says that I wanted to eat her pussy. Olivia Gondak, I've never said that in my life to her. I would never do that. I'm happily married. I've got more than enough to eat at home. Thank you very much.
You have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, and you ain't black.
Okay. I could stand in the middle of Fifth Avenue and shoot somebody and I wouldn't lose any voters, okay? It's like incredible.
I went to an Ivy League school. I'm very highly educated. I know words. I have the best words.
We now have a gun on every table. We're ready to start shooting.
By the way, maybe you could inject some bleach in your arm, and that would take care of it. This is the same man.
Said sarcastically.
That was...
Even though they're trying to impeach the son of a bitch. Can you believe that? You believe that? That's enough. Put down the mic.
Mr. President, are you worried about indictments coming down in this investigation?
Punch him in the face, I'll tell you.
It's a human under attack.
I don't want reality. I'm asking the question, which one is better? That's exactly what it is.
Got it on tape.
What a stupid son of a bitch.
Step into the tense arena of politics with TFP, where raw honesty meets critical analysis. The world's most dangerous political panel, featuring the voices of the radical Republican, MD-20, the political prophet amongst men, Ricardo, the uppity independent king of popcorn, who's waiting and watching in the political theater, Mike, the Fatalists, who is always Mike is right from the Others Gang, and Venkat, the Progressive Producer Extraordinaire, dives deep into controversial topics that shape our global stage.
With sharp insights and unfiltered discussions,
they explore the complex narratives of past and present political dilemmas that affect us all.
They're eating the dogs.
Each episode acts as a magnifying glass, scrutinizing the layers of misinformation and propaganda that permeate our world. The panel's dynamic interplay ignites debates that challenge viewers to confront uncomfortable truths about governance, power, and societal responsibility.
Engage with thought-provoking content that not only informs, but inspires action.
TFP is not just a series. It is a call to awareness, urging audiences to participate in the political discourse and foster change in their communities.
Now get ready to witness the strength of tape-fist politics.
How stupid are these politicians to allow this to happen?
Everything you saw on the news is sucker shit. It's sucker shit. Nation, make sure that people like us are always struggling and in fucked up situations. We're gonna beat these people. I'm not trying to be dramatic here, but it's been a hard fight. These people hate our children.
She's a total train wreck. And by the way, I looked at her this morning. She had a little news conference. It lasted for like 2 minutes. She's exhausted. You know? She's exhausted. She's a train wreck who is totally unqualified to be the President of the United States of America. There are some people who thrive under pressure, and there are some people who crack under pressure. She's a cracker. And the more pressure Kamala has, the more you see it happening. No, she's a cracker. And the more pressure Kamala has, the more you see it happening.
It is a fact. He called her a cracker.
On day one, I will launch the largest deportation program in American history. When I win, I will immediately bring prices down starting on day one.
You promised to end birthright citizenship on day one. Is that still your plan?
Yeah, absolutely. He says, you're not going to be a dictator, are you? I said, no, other than day one. We're closing the border, and we're drilling.
It is now official. CNN projects that Donald Trump has been elected president, defeating Vice President Kamala Harris and making a political comeback unlike any in modern American politics. Mr. Trump is only the second former president in U.S. history to be reelected to the White House. He will return to office after 2 impeachments in his first term, followed by unprecedented criminal indictments and felony convictions.
Congress will officially certify the results of the November election. Vice President Kamala Harris will carry out her constitutional duty, confirming Donald Trump's victory. It was on this day 4 years ago, we all remember, that Trump delivered a very angry speech denying his 2020 defeat, which was then followed by a deadly assault on the Capitol.
There's no question he's the leader of our party. So now he's got a mission statement, his mission, and his goals and objectives, whatever that is, we need to embrace it. All of it. Every single word in his mission statement. If Donald Trump says jump 3 feet high and scratch your head, we all jump 3 feet high and scratch our heads. That's it.
The governor wants the flags that are being flown at half staff right now in honor of Jimmy Carter raised back to full staff for the swearing in of President-elect Trump next week.
In Dallas today, you can find flags at Dallas City Hall, Old City Park, at local schools, all following the national call to honor the life of a former president by flying those flags at half staff. It is a 30-day salute to Jimmy Carter, who died at the age of 100. But Texas Governor Greg Abbott has issued a state order. All flags on state buildings will return to full staff status 1 week from today, and for one reason: the inauguration of Donald Trump. The governor saying the order unites the nation and ushers in a new leadership era. But feedback found on the governor's social media account today indicates a flurried mix of opposition and support of his action.
While we honor the service of a former president, we must also celebrate the service of an incoming president and the bright future ahead for the U.S.
But will Texas return to honoring President Carter the day after that inauguration? The governor has not said.
President Joe Biden's decision to have U.S. flags fly at half-staff to honor the late President Jimmy Carter has sparked a strong reaction from President-elect Donald Trump. As Trump prepares to take office later this month, he has expressed his dissatisfaction with the timing of the flag protocol as it coincides with his inauguration on January 20th. In a social media post, Trump stated that no American can be happy about flags being at half-mast, especially during such a major event. He also accused Democrats of being pleased with the somber optics, seeing it as an image of mourning just as he was about to return to the White House. Now, Trump believes that this creates an unsettling image of a nation in grief as he stands on the Capitol steps to take the oath, marking a dramatic comeback after the turbulent first term.
See, this is what you call trash-ass behavior.
Hi. Do you want to come here, Bruce? Is it pick on the ground? In the middle? Scoot over in the middle? No. It's okay, I won't bite. I'm not going to bite. Don't worry. Okay. Okay. Do you solemnly swear to support and defend the Constitution of the United States? Thank you. Congratulations. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for your work. Thank you. Congratulations to you.
Thank you.
Okay. You're welcome. Okay, sure. Okay.
That way just a little bit. There you go. Thank you so much. Ready?
What? Thank you. Thank you for your work. Thank you. Congratulations to you.
Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.
And see, when are we going to just accept that these people want no parts of civility? They want nothing to do with decency. They want nothing to do with bipartisanship. They want nothing to do with unity. Nothing. Hatred and division is their brand. Okay? That is Deb Fisher's husband, Bruce Fisher. Now, there's a lot wrong with him not shaking the vice president's hand. Now, of course, the obvious racism is there. That's obvious. But he can't even fake civility. He can't even fake decency. He can't even fake patriotism. Do you understand how much hatred you have to have in your heart when you can't even shake the vice president's hand as you're wearing a United States flag pin? Do you understand how full of shit you are as a human being when you are holding a Bible, literally holding a Bible, and you won't shake the hand of another human being who is honoring your wife, who is swearing in your wife? Didn't the Christian say something about love thy neighbor? Oh, you're just not applying that. See, this is the shit that people have to acknowledge about where we are as a country. Stop with the, oh, it's a reasonable explanation for it. No, it's not. He's a shitty person. That's it. Even his wife knew the task. Let me get sworn in, it's cool. She's trying to get her husband to be a better person. He's not. So we have to stop with this. Now, what good possible reason could you have for not shaking the vice president's hand as she's swearing in your wife? She didn't do anything wrong. It's not like she stormed the Capitol, told people to storm the Capitol. It's not like she sent death threats to judges or witnesses. It's not like she had charges of trafficking filed against her. You know, like the people in your party. Patriot, Christian. She has none of that negative baggage, yet that dude felt that he didn't want to shake her hand. But he'll go back and shake the hands of all of those criminals I named, including the convicted criminal felon that just got put back in office. This country is a goddamn joke. This country is a goddamn joke. So Karen Bass got to go. The mayor of one city, not even of all of California, got to go because of the lies that y'all telling about how she's managed these fires. First of all, the fact that y'all are believing these lies without even taking the time to verify that they are lies tells me a lot about y'all, and it tells me a lot about why the country is exactly where it is. Makes a lot of sense. But the fact that y'all are saying that the mayor of a city has to go at the same fucking time that y'all just gave power back to a dude who mismanaged a pandemic so badly that 1 million people ain't here no more says a lot. The dude who took the pandemic response playbook left to him by Obama and threw it out because he didn't like Obama. And him throwing out that playbook made the pandemic worse, which again cost 1 million people their lives. Y'all gave him the job back? The dude who fired the pandemic response team because he said, and I quote, "I don't like having a bunch of people around when we don't need them." Y'all gave him the fucking job back. But Karen Bass got to go. The dude who was caught on audio tape, I'm going to say it again, he's caught on audio tape lying about how bad the pandemic is going to be. Y'all gave him the job back, but Karen Bass got to go. The dude, there's not enough ways for me to say, fuck y'all. It's not enough ways and not enough time.
Tonight on TFP, the stage is set for another exhilarating exploration of politics with this episode. Join Ricardo, Venkat, MD20, and Mike as they delve into the dynamics that shape our world, offering their unique perspectives on current affairs, with debate and discourse at the forefront. Expect a lively exchange filled with insightful analysis and bold predictions. The atmosphere is charged with anticipation, as each voice brings forth a blend of experiences in varying positions, creating a tapestry of ideas that resonate with the audience. Join us for a night where knowledge meets passion, and discover why Mike is right. Tune in for an unforgettable experience with the political prophet amongst men. This is TFP, Taped Fists Politics. Let's go.
All right, here we go. Here we go for another TFP Tuesday, Tape Fist Politics. And I am once again joined with the world's most dangerous political panel. And on the panel today, we got MD20. What's going on, MD?
Yeah, hello, Ice.
Yeah, man. Hello, Ice. There's a lot of that going on today and all of this week, pretty much. Is wow. A lot of that going on today. My goodness. Oh, Lord. So, this is a jam packed show, and I'm sure I'm not going to get to everything that I have on deck. On this week's show, we're going to. Yep. So on this week's show, we're going to look at Pete Hegseth. We're going to take a look at the birthright issue. Check out Elon Musk. There's a very interesting video dealing with a police officer and a roadside stop that I want MD to check out, get MD's thoughts on that one. DEI is a big thing, so we're going to go over that. And if God permits, if time permits, we can get into some other things like a ridiculous but real third term. They're trying to actually entertain that. So before we get to all that, let's just go with what we saw. MD, your thoughts here on the opening video. Of course, the title of the show is The Petty King and His Court Jesters. And as you can see, just like the gentleman in the video said, if Trump tells you to jump 3 feet and touch your head, you do it. What are your thoughts here, MD?
I mean, it's really nothing surprising. You know, and like you said, we'll get into it at the beginning of the video. The dictator, you know, on day one and all that stuff. Everything Trump said that he was going to do, he's doing it. Now, the question is at what level or how extreme is what he said he's going to do going to be, you know, as extreme. To me, you know, when it comes to the mass deportation, it's a show, folks. You
It
know,
really is.
he's doing things that are unkind, unhumane, no question about it. But if you think, just being a logical person, if you think for 1 second that this man is about to mass deport, you know, using mass deportation, you know, in air quotes, because what's considered a mass deportation, we'll talk about that as well. If you think this guy's going to deport 11 to 15 million people, again, I've said it before, I got some beachfront property on the Las Vegas Strip that I'm willing to sell you at a reasonable price. You're a dumbass if you believe that. There was a memo that was put out, and it was exposed just yesterday that he wants the ICE agents to basically be their TV best as far as the look. They want them to be to the
They got to
T.
wear the vest. They got to wear the vest.
You know what I'm saying? All that stuff. He wanted to look good on TV because it's a reality show, is what it is. Now here's the thing. Let me bring up some numbers here. And again, this is the question of, you know, and I'm going to talk about the rest of the stuff, but I think this is important. What do you consider mass deportation? Because I would make an argument that every president has done mass deportation. like
Exactly.
By proxy, you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
You know, Obama, and I don't agree with the term, but they put it on him anyway, deporter in chief. His first term, the man damn near deported 3 million people. 2.5 is the approximate number. His second term, it was 1.9. Far more than Trump did in his first term. So was what Obama did a mass deportation? By definition, I would say yeah. So like what are we talking about? People are fickle, people are stupid, and they got confirmation bias. That's all this is. This man, I'm telling you, what's going on right now in terms of the deportations is all for show. At the end of the day, when all the numbers are tallied, it ain't gonna be no different from any other president. But the MAGA maniacs are so stupid, they're gonna take that as a win. And somehow we got rid of all the immigrants. We won't, not by a long shot. So, you know, I just wanted to get that out of the way because I don't want people to put too much in. Now, again, what he's doing is inhumane, no question about it. The way Obama and Biden did it is not the way that Trump is doing it. Perfect example with the airplanes in Colombia over the weekend. You got these people on a military airplane, shackled at the feet and handcuffed at the hands like it's damn Dark Knight Rises with Bane on the damn airplane. Like, this is crazy. Biden had over 260 flights going to the same place, to Colombia, in his term. Ain't nobody talking about that. Why? Because he did it the right way. Simple as that, folks. So, you know, that's on for that point. What the dude was talking about in terms of like the Karen Bass situation and LA, all this was laid out prior to the election. We knew that there was going to be implications of conditions with federal funding. We knew this. It was laid out in Project 2025. But hell, people say, oh, Project 2025 is not Trump. Stop putting that on Trump. Well, I don't know what else to tell you. And you know, I'm not a fan of Mayor Bass in LA, but kudos to her for at least having the balls to be at the press conference and solidify her position with Trump right there. You know, I give her kudos for that. You know what I'm saying? And the last thing, I guess, you know, with the handshake, I ain't got no issue with it because to me, it's irrelevant to the focal point of what's at stake during this presidential term. I don't give a damn if you shake my hand or not. We now are the opposition party. And I will say, as far as the Democrats, y'all doing a bad job at being the opposition. If I'm going to be frank, you know what I mean? Where is all of these executive orders that's going on, all the bashing? I hope we get into the press briefing because that, like I said, that discombobulated my mind. I've since calmed down with some of the stuff that was said. But where's the opposition, Venkat? That's what I want to know. Why are we just laying down? Let me stop saying we, because I ain't, you know what I'm saying? But where is the Democrats' intestinal fortitude as far as from a mainstream outlook, putting your foot forward as far as being the opposition to what Trump is doing? I ain't seeing it, Venkat. Maybe you disagree, but I'm not seeing it. I don't hear nothing. Am I still talking?
MD, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Yeah, you mute.
Oh, okay. Yeah. No, I agree with what you're saying. There's a major lack of opposition. A lot of Democrats are like playing nice games. You see, even Gavin Newsom giving Trump all these compliments, talking about he was there for him during COVID, and this is the same guy that mismanaged COVID. How are you there for you? I don't know how he was there for you, but yeah, it's very light. There's so much there that you can attack. But Trump is doing the same thing that he did the last time, a flurry of activity. And he's doing a lot of executive orders, just like the last time, to give the perception to his followers that things are happening. Look at this. Daddy's home. He's doing things, blah, blah, blah. And I mean, when you start paying attention to some of this legislation that he's putting through, it's some egregious ass stuff. Something that came out today, we also have to cover as well. But Donald Trump, it's all about image. There's no substance behind it. And just like MD was mentioning, you know, you got the ICE guys instructed to be photogenic and ready to go and really show that it's theatrical performance on the screen
You got Dr. Phil on location, shooting the show with ICE, all type of crap. Like, this is not real, folks.
Right. And that's all it is. And that's all Donald Trump has really been his whole career, before politics, after politics, it's always been about that. Give the illusion of the work being done, but don't do any of it, and let them look over here while you're in the other corner doing something else. That's all it is, misdirects. Oh, hold on, let me see. I think
sleight of hand.
Oh, hell yeah. And there we go. We got Ricardo on the panel. Okay, there we go. Yeah. There was somebody else in the queue. I forgot that person's name, but if you would just turn on your camera the next time you hit the link, we just got to verify that you're an actual person and not a troll. So on the panel, we got Ricardo. Ricardo, what's going on, sir?
Yes, sir. I'm here. We are warming up or popping up some popcorns and sitting back and watching the shite show take into its effect for what are we, week 2 now of of wonderful Project 2025 frameworks coming into CPation and all of that fun stuff. Before I even start, I'm just gonna
I don't know what happened. Did something happen?
Can you hear me?
Can you hear
I can
me?
hear you. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Okay. You back, Ricardo?
Okay. Yeah. No, I was saying. My coworker stated to me today that we were having some. We were conversing, and apparently ICE, in my county, in Broward County, that I reside in Davie at that is if y'all don't know Davie in Broward County, it's like old cow. How would you say? How old country western-esque kind of I guess scenery settings for how it used to be back in the day in Broward County. He was leaving school and apparently ICE, which I didn't even know they usually do every day, but they somehow seep through Broward County, the largest Democratic county in the state of Florida. For some reason they started pulling over and they pulled him, and for whatever the reason wanted to arrest him, and he was not having it. He said, listen, I'm a U.S. how dare you? I guess he looked Hispanic for some reason. I thought he was an illegal immigrant, and they pulled him over. The whole exchange went down and how it was, and they said they were going to arrest him, and he said, I refuse to get out of my vehicle, on what you need to arrest me on? That you need to tell me why am I getting out of my vehicle? Are you going to be arresting me, and what are you arresting me for? I guess they ran the plate for his vehicle, and I guess they realized nothing on him, and then they go, oh, you're free to go. And that's how they're skating by this whole, we're rounding up people. Listen to me and listen to me clearly, people. Now is the time, if y'all don't know, and when we preach to you to know your civic duty, very important that you guys understand your civic duties. Do understand one thing, because this is not a joke. When we told y'all last year about this whole Project 2025 thing, people skim it through their heads. It's no, we can't tie this to this person. It is not a joke. You guys need to understand this is actually going into fruition. Another thing I'm going to send into the group when the show actually ends is another video of someone who voted for Trump, and somehow Trump, and I guess not even Trump, ICE rounded up his wife and daughter, them off to Venezuela because they were apparently waiting for their paperwork, and they didn't care. They just send them off to Venezuela, I think sometime this week. And he was like, oh, Trump, can we work out a deal? No, there's no deal to be worked out. This is literally what they literally told you was coming down the pipeline. Y'all thought this was a joke. It's literally no one's going to feel sorry for none of y'all. This is what you wanted. This is what you're going to get. It's a complete hand in the basket, like, I should probably say shit show, like MD says. But this is...
Welcome to hell, motherfucker!
So yeah, just like that. I mean, it is what it is. So I just wanted to come on the show and say this is not a joke. Like, if y'all think we're just making this up, this is not even a joke thing. This is real. This is in real time, y'all, and it's gonna start snowballing here. So buckle up, and let's and as for what MD was saying, let's get your ass the ground, and this sob story that y'all are doing. There's a reason why you're in the opposition right now. Get that crap. I need y'all, the Democratic Party, as the opposition, to now get to work. You have a lot of scholars that know a lot of litigation and a lot of things in pertaining to law. Get to work. I don't want to hear this foolishness with y'all going, oh, but we got beaten bad. And none of that. It's not about money. It's not about none of that. It's about doing your job as the opposition party. Get to work. I don't want to hear it right now about this whole sob kumbaya fest that y'all are doing over there. Somebody in the corner talking about, oh, woe is me. Woe is me is over and done with from the inauguration. Even before then, get to work as the opposition party. I need y'all to get focusing, get to work. It's not the first time y'all have lost, but y'all can reap the benefits of going forward and try to get things in order. But it's going to take somebody to lead this party, and I don't know who, because, you know, one person left, and y'all said he was too old, so figure it out from here. And I'll leave it at that.
Hey, real quick, Venkat, speaking of Florida, somebody please check on young Master Kale. I put the video in the group chat a couple of days ago. I don't know, one of his brethren, I guess, his cousin or whatever, they had him in the back of the paddy wagon, finna ship his ass back to Haiti. He said he ain't going back to Haiti. So somebody check on my man. Somebody please check on young Master Kale. I want to make sure you're okay.
Oh, that'd be so prophetic right there. To have this guy voting for Trump. This is happening too often, though. A lot of these people vote for Trump and then their family members get deported.
Exactly. Like, how are you gonna vote and then talk about turn around and work on it? No, you don't get. There's no compromise in this. This is what it is. Like, this is what you voted for. You don't call, go try to reach out to Trump, talk about, oh, but my wife, I need my wife and my daughter back here. But their paperwork was just getting finalized. You think Trump cares? No. You think ICE care? No. Their job is to do something. They're getting it done. This is what you voted for. Don't about it and then sit there and talk about you're going to work out a deal. It doesn't work like that. This is the real world, people. Don't go crying to mama for that.
That's just crazy. The fact that the guy straight up told you what he's going to do, but I guess it's okay if it happens to everybody else and not you. Once it happens to you and it comes to your door, then it's a problem. It's not a problem when it's hitting everybody else, and that's just coward stuff right there. I have a video illustrating kind of that same theme. Where you have a person that actually votes for Donald Trump, and then Niagara Falls starts going down when the reality hits that it's hitting their family. I also have other Trump supporters in support of Donald Trump going in, and then when he starts doing these orders, these executive orders and policies, coming to the realization that, oh my God, this policy is not good for me. So take a look at this, and then we'll be on the other end.
This is so crazy that we voted for Trump. We trust him with the word that he promised us Latinos. This is crazy that starting next week, multiple cities will be hitting immigration. That is so crazy that multiple people are scared to go to work. I hate that I voted for him. Now I'm so scared for my family and y'all family. Y'all, we need to come together and do something about this.
TikTok was posted by Myra Aluna, and as you saw, she was in tears after realizing that she got exactly what she voted for. And in case you were wondering, no, I'm not the one who posted that sappy music. She is the one who added that music, I think because she was hoping people would feel sympathy for her. But I think most people are going to feel sorry for her family because they didn't get a say in the matter, and they're the ones who are presumably going to be affected by this. But it begs the question, what did she expect? because Trump ran on mass deportation. His supporters at the RNC literally held signs that read mass deportation in bold red and white letters. So how are you shocked when it was the cornerstone of his campaign? And some commenters actually asked her that question. Here's her response.
It doesn't matter who you voted for. They both was full of shit of presidents. No matter what, people can go through politics. I don't want to go down that route with y'all because I don't have time for the negativity like that. Because my people are going through the situation, not y'all. So y'all can go, whatever y'all want to say, I don't care. God bless you. We're supposed to be here for one another, lift each other. What's wrong with y'all? Sick.
So she was pretty defensive, as you saw, because she felt like people were trying to kick her while she was down, when she was pretty much expecting sympathy. So I think that the backlash surprised her. I don't think she also anticipated that this would go viral as well. But, you know, after she engaged with more comments and a few TikToks later, it actually seems like this moment has genuinely radicalized her in a positive way. She later admitted that voting for Trump was a mistake and she regrets it. But since she can't take it back, you know, she's going to focus her efforts on fighting for the people in her community. Upon further reflection, she also apologized for her vote and the way that it's affecting her family as well as other people's families. And she even made a post doubting the legitimacy of religion after presumably being overtly religious in that original TikTok. And she then posted this clip from a live stream explaining why she made that video in the first place.
My purpose to make that video is to see what can we come together and make this. What can we do? What can we like get out of this to help one another? Because I made a mistake. Everybody makes mistakes in life. Everybody. I'm gonna pay attention more.
Great. You know, it would have been nice if you paid attention before the election, but hey, better late than never, I guess, right? But even though it's so incredibly frustrating that she voted the way that she did, I do think it's important that we have grace for people like her, especially after they own up to their mistakes. What matters the most is that we use this opportunity to better inform people and try to foster class solidarity among people like Myra, who realized that she made a mistake. So we have to connect the dots for them and try to bring them over to our side. And I get it. It's frustrating because so many people don't come to this type of realization until one of his policies affects them personally. But we've got to try to meet people where they are and get them to be more empathetic. So that way they don't realize the pain and suffering that they cause, you know, until it's too late. But right now, Myra is genuinely hurting because she's scared for her family, and I would be too if I were her. In another TikTok, she actually revealed that her grandfather texted his goodbyes to her in case ICE raided his work, which is genuinely heartbreaking, and I sincerely hope that her family is safe. But unfortunately, their safety is not guaranteed. Nobody's safety is guaranteed. And the best that we can all do is try to prepare and educate people about how to protect themselves. And on that note, I do want to link you to this ACLU page with resources and scripts in English and Spanish in the event ICE shows up to question you. And just know that if an ICE agent questions you, you don't have to say anything. You do have the right to remain silent. And if they ask to search you, you can demand that they get a warrant. And if you're not a citizen and you have papers, carry them with you at all times, but know that you're only required to show them to immigration agents and not local police. And whatever you do, don't sign anything. And if you are a citizen and you see ICE, TikTokers like Ariana Jasmine are encouraging people to yell "La Migra" to warn immigrants in the vicinity that ICE has showed up. I think that priority number one is getting this basic information out to people, and we have to treat ICE like the modern day Gestapo that they are. But getting back to Myra, what matters to me is that she's now trying to right her wrong. And I think it's far more than you can say about other people who have buyer's remorse about voting for Donald Trump, like the lady we're about to talk about now, who voted for him 3 times. But after seeing him in his first week, she now wants to flee the country. I'm not joking about this. So Reddit user Miracle King shared this exchange with his mom on Reddit. She texted her son saying, "I'm afraid for this nation and I kind of want out of here. We're an embarrassment." Now her son responded saying, "I know Kamala ran a shit campaign, but literally everybody not a Republican said this was going to happen. Trump is already following the Project 2025 handbook and things like rescinding census orders to redraw election maps." And on that note, by the way, her son is absolutely correct. I'm still glad that she at least realized that she fucked up at a minimum, because the overwhelming majority of Trump voters right now, they're still riding high. They still support him, and they're still holding out faith that he won't implement policies that hurt them specifically. And I say this because CNN actually talked to Trump supporting educators in Kentucky who are bracing for budget cuts after Trump announced that he wants to abolish the Department of Education, which would directly fuck them over. And, here's what they had to say about the situation.
A third of all of Bell County, Kentucky school district funding in 2021 came from federal sources. So this district is listening as incoming President Donald Trump pledges this.
One other thing I'll be doing very early in the administration is closing up the Department of Education in Washington, D.C., and sending all education and education work and needs back to the states.
What exactly that means for a state like Kentucky is unclear. Trump won this state. In Bell County, 84% voted for Trump, yet it deeply relies on federal funding. And that's not unusual. A CNN analysis found the 15 states that most rely on federal funding for its public schools in 2022 all voted for Trump.
And I voted for President Trump.
I mean, you're an educator. You
Yes.
didn't vote for Trump eliminating federal funds
No,
here.
I did not vote for that. I voted for President Trump to make America first again and to improve our lives.
Do you believe that he would cut funding for this county?
I want to say in my heart, absolutely not. I do not think that's what the voters want. If we have federal cuts, then that's going to mean bigger classroom sizes. I would lose teachers, first and foremost. It's devastating for this school in particular.
Guess what? That's the fucking goal. For years, the Republican Party has been open about wanting to defund public education in order to further privatize it. When they push for school voucher programs, they are deliberately pulling money out of public schools to put them into private schools. You voted for that, but she wasn't the only one.
This superintendent is still doing multiple jobs, taking on paying invoices and answering the district's phones just so he can save money on administrative help and send more money to his classrooms.
I don't think that anyone in our county wants to cut our school funding. I don't think that anyone voted for that.
Do you mind if I ask who you voted for in the election?
I voted for Donald Trump, and I voted against Amendment 2.
Amendment 2, so-called school choice, would have allowed Kentucky tax dollars to go to non-public schools. But it failed overwhelmingly in Kentucky, even though President Trump supports the policy.
Well, it looks like you effectively voted for Amendment 2 anyway, since you voted for Donald Trump. And what's so aggravating is how people in red states who predominantly vote for Donald Trump, they're actually going to be worse off than most people in the country because of his policies. Red states just don't have enough revenue for things like education and disaster relief, and they rely on federal funding, a sizable share of which comes from blue states, by the way, that they hate, to supplement their state budgets. So if you remove the federal government from the equation, the implications are literally disastrous. I mean, if you abolish FEMA, for example, which Trump said he wants to do, southern states that are frequently hit with hurricanes and tornadoes are going to be shit out of luck if that happens. And those people do not deserve to suffer because of the state that they happen to live in. All Americans should have the same standard of living, regardless of which state they're in. They should have the same healthcare, the same education. But after these red states voted for Donald Trump, his gift to them is basically a giant middle finger in the form of austerity.
All right,
Vector,
there we go.
Bro.
Huh?
Do you not realize that literally just happened today? that school is screwed.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. What do you think, MD? They at the
It ain't nothing to think about. It's done. It's over with. Finito. According to, and again, I'm gonna wait. I don't want to be irrational. I don't want to jump the gun on nothing because I almost did that, but then I had to take a step back. According to that press briefing that Caroline Levitt did today, according to what she said, everything is coming to a halt except individual assistance. Now, what's individual assistance? That will be your SNAP, stuff that directly comes to you, like food stamps, Section 8, et cetera, et cetera. Everything else. Go ahead.
No, is that confirmed because on CNN,
No, it's not.
They
Yeah,
they saying
yeah, go
something
ahead.
else. No,
I know
CNN
they
saying
saying something else. I know.
I got the video after Ricardo. I'm gonna play that video. It's like 5
Yeah,
minutes.
yeah. So from and like I said, everything is not out yet, and nothing's confirmed yet. But from several state officials in several different states, they've said that as far as, for example, Medicaid, the terminals have been shut down that the medical providers use to get paid from the federal government. So that would be an individual assistance program, correct?
Right.
So your guess is as good as mine. Somebody's lying, is what I'm telling you. But in effect, for what we're talking about with that particular story, everything else is fair game, meaning education, basically government funding for education is now done, pending review, of course, quote unquote. It's done, meaning what this lady just said, she voted for Trump, but she didn't vote for funding cuts. Well,
Yep.
you kind of did, because now your funding is cut.
Exactly.
So like, what are we talking about here? What are we talking? And like you said, this is an ongoing theme from MAGA Maniac. The Chicano, Chicana, in the beginning of the video.
Yep.
Like what's the problem? What's the problem? You didn't know about this? Oh, I forgot. Y'all denied the existence of Project 2025. Y'all said it was apocryphal. It ain't canon to what Trump want to do. But now you're figuring out that it is. And even your ass might be up out of here too if Trump can figure out a way to get rid of birthright citizenship. We gonna talk. I got a lot to talk about with that.
Yep.
But hey, you might be gone too, and you were born in this country. I'm assuming.
This is crazy.
I don't know what you want me to say, Venkat.
It's a never like. Where do you go with this? By the time MAGA maniacs catch up mentally about what's really going on, they gave so much power away to Donald Trump with this election that he can do all these things and there's no way to undo it for the foreseeable future. It's game over, man. It's game over.
Yeah, that FEMA funding that they were talking about, that's gone too.
Yeah, man.
Literally everything is gone. Everything. Pending review, of course. Pending review.
Now, all this stuff is going not because there's something better going in its place. It's all going to give tax cuts to the rich.
There it is. Just like in your home, and this is the idiocy of it all. Government funding, and this is what the conservatives believe. They believe that the way we budget at home, me and you and Ricardo, is the same way the government should be budgeted. Like a household. Oh, I got this bill and that bill. I got to account for that. The government don't work like that, bro. It just don't.
Exactly.
You're an idiot if that's what you believe. That the government's sitting around and counting what's in the piggy bank. We got this, and that. No, bro.
The government makes the rules.
They make the rules. They're the banker in the Monopoly game. They don't have to budget like me and you.
It's not even close. It's not even in the same spectrum.
Like this is insane. So, but they want you to believe that we got to do all these cuts to save money. In reality, they cutting to move money. That's all they doing. Everything that needs to be accounted for will be accounted for if they got the money or not.
And by the way, Doge, Elon Musk admitted that he can't make certain cuts that he had promised going in, but he said what he can do is get rid of the penny, and that'll save some money.
Yeah, he also admitted the end of last week when they announced that AI commission.
Yep.
That it was unrealistic. and they didn't have the money for it. Trump is the one that damn announced it. This is crazy.
You can't make this stuff up, man. Ricardo, so you talked about it. You talked about the Project 2025, and we are seeing Project 25 running on all cylinders right now. Week 1, we're already in it. What do you think? What do you think about that Latina crying in the beginning of the video? And what do you think about those two idiots on the end? I got to call them idiots, voting against their own self-interest. Ricardo, you there? Oh, we must have lost Ricardo. MD, you can hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess Ricardo. All right, so we're gonna have to come back to Ricardo. Let me go to the freezing, Trump freezing these financial benefits here for the government, and we'll be back.
Donald Trump is a disruptor. He promised to reshape the federal government. His rhetoric was about retribution and rooting out what he and his allies call the deep state, or what others call career specialized public servants. At 5 p.m. Eastern today, that's 5 hours from now, a new directive to freeze federal programs and grants will go into effect. The realities of that order will go far beyond what many people took away from his campaign promises. The White House is offering up very few details on the scope and the details of its order, so there is a lot we don't know. But there are some details we do know about the impact programs that are a part of this order, how it could impact Americans across the country. CNN's Tom Foreman will break some of that down. Tom.
Hi, Dana. You're right. We do not know a lot about this. From what we do know, until the White House specifies otherwise, is that millions and millions of people who voted for Donald Trump could be on the chopping block in these in some fashion. School breakfast and lunch programs, for example, are among the things that are being potentially impacted by this. Section 8 rental assistance, that's not just for poor people, but it's also for senior citizens. It is for disabled people. Title I education grants, that's to help struggling schools and struggling neighborhoods. That could be cut back on. Temporary assistance for needy families. State grants for childcare. Head Start, a program to help with the education of children up to the age of 5, not just their education, but also their mental health, their physical health, all the things they need to start off life in a productive way. Special supplemental nutrition programs for women, infants, and children. HUD's community development block grant programs. EPA grants to states and localities for clean water. All of these are potentially up for grabs here. In addition, there are advocates out there who are saying programs like suicide helplines, hotlines. You could have women who are abused by their husbands tonight and who go to a shelter and are told, you can't come in here because we can't be open because of this cut. Same could be true for homeless people out there. There are all sorts of programs out here that are potentially affected. Again, millions and millions of people, many of them the people who voted for Donald Trump. Maybe, Dana, they will not be affected, but the White House has so far refused to offer any details about what this really means. And yes, you can look at a program like Head Start. There was just a recent government study that said there are endemic problems there that need to be studied. Maybe that's what this aims at, is trying to solve all those problems. But until we have more details, Dana, all we know is that communities all across this country who may not think they're going to be affected literally within hours could be feeling tremendous impacts from what is being done.
Thank you so much. That is so important to lay out. And that is just some of what could be impact some of the people, some of the programs, some of the needs across the country and down to the most local of communities. Tom, thank you.
Welcome.
Now, whether or not Donald Trump or any president has the power to do what Tom just described, to freeze grants and programs approved by Congress and signed into law, that is an open question. What is not an open question is what the Constitution says about checks and balances and which body is in charge of how taxpayer dollars are directed to be spent. That is traditionally seen as a congressional prerogative. And that comes from Article 1, Section 9, Clause 7 of the U.S. Constitution. No money shall be drawn from the Treasury, but in consequence of appropriations made by law. In more common parlance, Congress has the power of the purse. Donald Trump and his allies clearly want to test this in ways that affect those many aspects of everyday American life. I'm lucky to be surrounded here by a talented group of reporters to help break all of this down. CNN's Phil Mattingly, Kayla Gardner of Bloomberg, and Molly Ball of the Wall Street Journal. I have the benefit of seeing your emails, Phil Mattingly, trying to make us all smarter here at CNN. So why don't you impart that to our viewers?
Can I actually start by taking a step back for a second?
Please.
Because I think it's important to watch what's been happening over the course of the last 7 or 8 days and not think that these things are happening in isolation, right? And this is a really good example of it. Donald Trump campaigned on impoundments, campaigned on being able to take away Congress's power of the purse if he didn't think that's wild. That he's campaigning on something that is illegal because of a 1974 law signed by Congress that banned presidents from withholding congressionally appropriated funding. He campaigned against that and said explicitly he was going to do it. His nominee to be budget director was on Capitol Hill testifying just a few days ago, saying he agreed with the president that this thing that is law is unconstitutional.
They want to test it.
They want that fight. And so when you see things like the birthright citizenship executive order, they want that fight. They know that that fight is coming, and they believe, based on the reality that currently surrounds them, which is so dramatically different than it was in 2017, that they can win that fight. And if they don't win that fight, there will be no other repercussions other than they just get it struck down. There are no lawmakers on their side of the aisle, which they hold both majorities of the House, or of Congress, that are going to fight them on this or punish them for what they're doing, which is wild, by the way, that appropriators on the Republican side are not going bonkers right now. Chairwoman Susan Collins hasn't put out a statement yet. It's wild to me. They believe that the courts, particularly in the wake of what the president did in his first term with the circuit court judges and the 6-3 Supreme Court majority, largely is a very different environment than they were facing in the first term. They want the fights, and they're willing to not just wait and see, like, this is the process, we're not supposed to do this, we'll wait and see how this happens, maybe we'll get there after we try everything else. No, they're doing it now, right off the bat, because they want the fight.
I'm so glad you said that. I want everybody to clip and save and send that around, because what you just said is critical to the way that we need to approach this.
All right, so there we go. I'll go to Ricardo. Ricardo, I don't know if you were able to catch the video just now. What are your thoughts about what MD was saying, about what the video was saying? All these potential programs and whatnot going bye-bye. Project 2025, full effect.
It doesn't surprise me one bit. Can you guys hear me well?
Yeah, you're good.
I don't know what happened earlier. It looks like my reception. I'm in a dead zone, by the way, so AT&T doesn't help me. Whatever it is. But it doesn't surprise me one bit. I am very surprised, like the guy says in the video, that they're coming out so full force in the beginning. Just like, MD mentioned earlier.
Ricardo, you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. You went away just now.
Why again? I'm in the dead zone. But yeah, I'm not sure why, this again, we knew that Project 2025 was not a joke, but I'm trying to understand in my head the rational thinking of why come out so full force in the second week of the term in terms of doing all of these things. One of the things I'm looking forward to seeing, even though I don't really believe, because the CODIS has become politicized to the point where I don't even know if it's really in the best regards of the American citizens anymore. With that being stated, I think the Constitution holds a lot of ground here. If they're going to go full force with this whole birthright and all these things where they're trying to force, I think battle, and I think this litigation wise, the lawyers and all of in the have to pull out all the stops at this particular point. I don't think all and be all end all right now, because like they said, they know battle is coming. It's just that they're pushing at it like direct, live and direct now. I don't know if it's going to go well in the end for Project 2025 people, MAGA crew, and the rest of them. They're really trying to push forward this whole, ultimate goal. But we'll see, because at the end of the day, it's one of those. I don't know if we're going to be able to get through all of it today in terms of the birthright, but it's an episode that we have done when it comes to whether it be naturalized or birthright. It's one of those very controversial things that I think a lot of people holds ground when it comes to people in this particular country, and we'll have to open the door as what happens to people who are naturalized, but then are citizen, and then happen to them abroad by other acting states. Why is it that the government doesn't, go above and beyond? There's certain things that really, perturbs me when it comes to like the whole birthright citizenship and naturalization. I think a lot of it now goes into, this whole Project 2025 thing where, I don't know if it's a white nationalistic point of view thing that they're going for. It's very confusing. At the end, we all know what it is. It's just very interesting to see how they're going to try to spin this into a narrative that suits the benefit, because again, this country is built on immigration. Whether or not we like it or not, there was nobody here there's nobody here that really came, was like out of the originals, which we call Indians here. But this country cannot and won't progress unless it involves immigration or, dealing with immigrants. So I would love to see where this is going to go. We'll see what happens, but that's my whole take on the whole thing. But it's very interesting. I don't know if the whole episode tonight will cover everything, but I think this is an episode we need to touch on. This birthright initiatives, naturalization, and immigration overall. It means for this country and what it will do in the future is what we need to touch on. And I would love to see how Project 2025 ties all of this in with their white nationalistic point of view, because again, you have Elon Musk, who's an immigrant, but then he's also very close to the U.S. president. It's all shambles, but we'll see what happens. MD?
Yeah, MD.
Yeah, so again, none of this stuff is like groundbreaking or surprising. Russell Vaught, who's up for being the director of the OMB, Office of Management and Budget, literally, folks, wrote the chapter about Office of Management and Budget in Project 2025. All of this stuff that we're seeing right now, he wrote about it. And when we said something about it, y'all said it had nothing to do with Trump. Is that not what was said, Venkat?
Yep.
Like, what are we talking about here? Russell Vaught told you what he wanted to do. And he wanted to imbue all that power within the presidency. And that's what he's doing. That's a fact. They don't give a damn if it's unconstitutional law, which it is. Trump don't have no power to do anything when it comes to money. He don't. That's just a fact. But let's keep in mind, folks, the Supreme Court did say essentially the president do whatever the hell they want to do. So that's what he's doing.
Facts.
It's crazy.
Especially if it's a go with Congress, because they don't give a damn. They want Trump to do whatever he want to do. So there won't be any contest. It won't. So just get your handbasket. That's all I can tell you. There's nothing else that I can say, Venkat, is what I'm telling you.
It's crazy.
Now going back to the cutting of the federal funding, they were specific on how they said it. On the White House website, as well as in the press briefing today, it was clearly stated that the only things that were going to be upheld as far as funding was individual assistance. All you have to ask yourself is, what is individual assistance? That will be something that you get directly from the government, not a grant, not a wide scale assistance program. None of that. If you get something directly from the government, i.e. food stamp, Medicaid, Medicare, Section 8, SNAP, et cetera, et cetera. Those things weren't supposed to be touched. That's what was said. What I'm saying is, it's being reported. CNN just did it. It's being reported that these direct assistance programs are being affected right now. So what I'm saying is somebody's lying. Either the sources that are saying these programs are being affected are lying, or the White House is lying. Me, I'm leaning toward the White House, but I have no evidence of that. That's why I'm gonna wait.
I'll take White House for 1,000, Alex.
There you go. But again, I'm gonna wait and have some of these state officials come out and corroborate what CNN is saying. But if it holds true, this is devastating for millions upon millions of people, both Democrat and Republican.
Yep.
We just saw the video of the MAGA maniacs running the school. They're done if they funding get cut off. They done. They in Podunk, Appalachia, Eastern Kentucky. They done. In the hoods of America, these schools are done. They was already trash anyway. They done if funding getting cut, because they barely making it off of property taxes in hoods. If it get cut, they done. FEMA assistance. In my opinion, what's going to happen is they're going to review FEMA. They're going to give FEMA assistance to places like Western North Carolina where the hurricane hit, because that's Trump country. And they're going to deny it for places like California. That's just a fact, because Karen Bass running and it's liberal. These are dangerous times we're living in, folks. That's just a fact. Now, going to before I end, and we're gonna get into it. The birthright citizen, he brought it up, so I'm inclined to say something about it. I'm going to prove why I'm inclined to go with what Trump said, and I'm gonna use Ricardo as a test subject. And I'm gonna just leave it at that.
Okay. Well, with that being said, let's get into the birthright. So we'll go into it right now. Let's be on the other end of this video. We'll be back.
Let me ask you about some of your other promises on this topic. You promised to end birthright citizenship on day one. Is that still your plan?
Yeah, absolutely.
The 14th Amendment, though, says that, quote, all persons born in the United States are citizens. Can you get around the 14th Amendment with an executive action?
We're going to have to get a change. We'll maybe have to go back to the people, but we have to end it. We're the only country that has it.
Through an executive action?
You know, we're the only country that has it. Do you know, if somebody sets a foot, just a foot, 1 foot, you don't need to, on our land, congratulations, you are now a citizen of the United States of America. Yes, we're going to end that because it's ridiculous.
Through executive action?
Well, if we can, through executive action. I was going to do it through executive action, but then we had to fix COVID first, to be honest with you. We have to end it.
Federal judge yesterday temporarily blocked an effort by President Trump to deny citizenship to children whose parents are in the U.S. without permission. Trump says a change is needed because the current U.S. policy is more lenient than anywhere else in the world. Paul Spey checks that claim for PolitiFact.
How many countries grant citizenship to everyone who was born on their soil? Well, President Trump says the U.S. is the only nation that does that. Here's what he said the other day when he signed an executive order that aims to limit birthright citizenship.
We're the only country in the world that does this with birthright, as you know. And it's just absolutely ridiculous.
Is he right about that? Is the U.S. the only nation that grants birthright citizenship? Well, no. Take a look at this map put together by World Population Review. You can see Canada and Mexico and almost all of South America offers the same type of rights as the U.S. does. If you were born on their soil, you are automatically a citizen, even if your parents are not. Now, Trump may have had more of a point if he was talking about the developed nations. The U.S. and Canada are considered the only developed nations that offer birthright citizenship. And you can see Australia and a lot of European countries have much stricter policies. But Trump spoke a little too broadly here and got this one wrong. And that's why the Truth Meter rates his claim false. For the latest on Trump's legal challenge, check out WRAL.com.
First, the executive order blocked tonight. The judge today calling the president's order trying to end birthright citizenship, quote, blatantly unconstitutional. The Justice Department responding tonight saying it will vigorously defend the president's order.
Next order relates to the definition of birthright citizenship.
Tonight, a federal judge temporarily blocking President Donald Trump's executive order ending birthright citizenship, calling it blatantly unconstitutional. Trump signing the order just hours after he was sworn in.
Birthright. That's a big one.
Birthright citizenship is protected by the 14th Amendment. Now 22 states and 2 cities filing suit to block Trump's order from going into effect. Today, Seattle Judge John Kuhnauer saying it boggles my mind that any lawyer would consider the order constitutional.
Obviously, we'll appeal it. They put it before a certain judge in Seattle, I guess, right? And there's no surprises with that judge.
That judge appointed by President Ronald Reagan.
President Trump's executive order ending birthright citizenship is on temporary hold after a federal judge last week called it blatantly unconstitutional. Birthright citizenship derives from Section 1 of the 14th Amendment, which reads in part, quote, all persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and of the state wherein they reside. Vice President J.D. Vance defended the executive order on Face the Nation.
If you come here on vacation and you have a baby in an American hospital, that baby doesn't become an American citizen. If you're an illegal alien and you come here temporarily, hopefully, your child does not become an American citizen by virtue of just having been born on American soil.
Amanda Frost joins me now. She's a professor at the University of Virginia School of Law, director of the school's Immigration, Migration, and Human Rights program. Thank you for being here. Can you take us back? What was the intention behind passing the 14th Amendment, specifically this part about birthright citizenship?
Yeah, the goals were very clear of the Reconstruction Congress and the nation. This was shortly after the Civil War, and Congress's first goal was to overrule the infamous Dred Scott decision, in which the Supreme Court held that no Black person, whether they were free or slave, could ever be a U.S. citizen. So that was clearly the first and primary goal. But the secondary goal, and they talked about this in the legislative history, was they wanted to integrate the children of immigrants. They knew America was a nation of immigrants, more were arriving, and they explicitly said, we want the children of immigrants to be equal citizens and equal Americans.
Is birthright citizenship unique to the United States?
No. Other countries have birthright citizenship. We're one of 33 with pure birthright citizenship rules. Other countries have some conditions or qualifications on it, so we're not alone. Canada and Mexico also have birthright citizenship.
If birthright citizenship were to be overturned, what would happen to the newborn children of undocumented parents?
Yeah, I mean, that's the really extraordinary point. And I should add, it's not just undocumented parents. The executive order applies to the children of lawful immigrants as well, who are here temporarily on student visas or work visas. So it would be a huge number of people that would overnight become undocumented immigrants. We could expect, hundreds of thousands of children born every year to be undocumented. They wouldn't be able to get Social Security numbers. They wouldn't be able to get passports. They wouldn't have any legal right to remain in the U.S., even if their parents did. So the results of this would be extraordinary. And let me add, it wouldn't just be immigrants who would be affected. A U.S. citizen born in this country, whose parents and grandparents have been here, that person who has a baby, if that executive order were in place, would also have to prove their lineage to the satisfaction of the government before their child would be recognized as a citizen.
What else do you think people should know about this?
I think what I'd love people to take from this conversation now we're having about birthright citizenship is how essential it is to who America is, to our values. We were a nation founded on the idea that we were rejecting an hereditary monarchy. We were rejecting titles of nobility. We're not about lineage. We're about location. You're here, you're one of us. And America is better than most countries at integrating the children of immigrants. Europe really struggles with that, but we do a great job with that. And this executive order and the end of birthright citizenship would put at risk something that's really a superpower of the United States.
All right, there you go. She said we're not about lineage, we're about location. MD, the floor is yours on the birthright.
I want to hear from Ricardo first. Just because I want to hear like what his take is, and then I'm gonna sit him down on the couch. So yeah, I want to hear from Ricardo first.
All right,
the only reason is because I'm gonna use him specifically as a learning tool. Right? That's the only reason. So I want to hear from Ricardo first.
All right, so we got Ricardo's a science project. Go ahead, Ricardo.
Glad to
Floor
be
is yours, sir.
glad to be a science project here for TFP. Yeah, when it comes to this birthright thing, because and my biggest problem with Trump is that he says things where he's like, we're the only world. When he said that, I said to myself, this doesn't even sound right, because I know Canada has the same implementation as well. If you are born on Canadian soil, you are you're granted citizenship. Mind you,
I think we lost Ricardo again.
can you hear me
Ricardo,
now?
you can hear me? Oh,
Can
yeah,
you hear
we can hear you.
All right, so it
Yep,
looks.
we got you.
I think I figured out what the problem is. But yeah, one of the problems that came about from this issue with the whole birthright, like I was saying, I use Canada as an example. In 2009, they changed the law, whereas people couldn't just automatically come in the country, like how Trump is saying, have kids, and then we're gonna fly out the next day because we have kids. Once you're born on a country soil like Canada or the United States or Mexico at that, you're automatically a Canadian citizen, American citizen, or Mexican citizen. Doesn't matter. Particularly in this particular case in the U.S., like they mentioned in the Constitution, the 14th Amendment clearly states they're using that as a preamble. My take on this is that when he now goes in and says, we're going to end birthright citizenship, what then be the precursor going forward? Does that then says, if say Venkat, your lineage was or it came about from you having birthright, does that mean that, like the videos, I have to go to great extents to now prove that I'm like, this is ridiculous. It's all about the litigation and the word of mouth and all the spreading of misinformation here that doesn't really make sense. But in the grand concept of things, I now question. So then, if you retool this, then do you retool the whole naturalization process? Does that mean that I'm not a citizen myself, even though I've been proven that I went through the whole system of, hey, I'm here as a permanent resident. I did my due diligence. I did all of this. I did my civic, and then I was sworn in as a citizen. Then do you question that? Like, there's a whole thing to this now that I think now we have to question if you're going to go through the birthright. Question everything in the matter. So do you then change that? How it comes into play with the confusion of, like the lady says, being a superpower that have, and not for nothing, and I'm not, don't knock me for this. I kind of get where they're going with the narrative, because yes, people come here and do that and take advantage of the system. Absolutely, they do. You'll be dumb to think that they don't. Do people do that in other countries as well? Absolutely. Do people do they put in cases, or do you put in certain I guess laws or provisions in place to curtail this? Absolutely. Like I said, in 2009, Canada kind of changed that. So technically, Canada doesn't really have it anymore. You'd have to be grandfathered in the law from 2009 moving to 2015 to really get that. If you were born on the soil, you automatically become a citizen. It doesn't work like that anymore. I think that's where I think the U.S. is going to move into, in that provision where they change in the context of, if you're, say, coming from Russia and you're like, I'm going to have my kid here because my wife is pregnant, then my kid automatically becomes a citizen. So then, therefore, it could reap the benefits of that. That changes. And I think if it's going by the direction of how Canada did it in 2009, I think that's where they're heading towards. I don't know if MD knows what I'm talking about, but he's probably going to come cook me in a few minutes. But I think there's certain things or provisions used or utilized to say, okay, well, you stay here long enough, you're technically legal, so technically you're, you can't just reap the benefits of that. But then again, the state, born on soil, automatically becomes. So what are you going to change in that language that then, stop the process for, going forward? It's very mixed message, very confusing. And I think we need people now that are really high on the immigration naturalization process, all of that was from way back when the laws were coming into play here to then go forward with it, because it's going to be very confusing. I know SCOTUS is going to come into play here. Whether or not SCOTUS, put in initiatives to kind of, I guess, try to assist. I don't know. This is where you hear me say there's so much confusion in all of this. We'll see. But MD, come on. I'm ready for your cooking me and using me as a project. Let's get it.
Okay.
Hey,
All right. So
real quick, MD. Correct me if I'm wrong, Ricardo, MD. Trump didn't talk about birthright during the campaign.
Not really.
It's after he won.
Yeah. I mean,
it was his
again.
people.
This is a Project 2025.
Right.
But the way first of all, let me give a disclaimer. Based on the precedents that's been set, based on the outrage that's going to be displayed based on it, I don't believe that even if they take it to the Supreme Court, it's going to pass. That's my personal opinion. But I'm here to make a case for birthright citizenship. Now, I noticed that you didn't play the video when he was at the thing yesterday, when he said that birthright citizenship was for the freedmen. I'm gonna let that slide. I'm gonna let that slide. But in a way, he was absolutely correct. He never took away naturalization. So I want to make that statement clear for Ricardo, because again, I'm using him.
Right.
Go ahead.
But why did he not go into that direction though? That's where I'm trying to.
Well, because Trump is stupid. He don't know how to articulate that.
But MD, that's what I'm saying. Just because he says these things and it sounds all plausible to like the Magamanians, doesn't mean that it's correct. That's what I'm saying. Like he's like, oh, we're the only country in the world. I'm like, what are you talking about? Canada has the same rule. Mexico has the same rule.
Right, but they have the same rule through naturalization, and that's what I'm gonna take emphasis on.
Okay.
Now, what I want to do, I want to read the citizenship clause in its entirety. Like I said, it's only a couple of sentences. Okay, so everybody is clear as to what's what, because I think it's important. That like this is as important as you can get. All persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States wherein they reside. Now, just, ain't no right or wrong. What do you believe subject to the jurisdiction thereof means? How can somebody be subject to a jurisdiction? Meaning that you have to abide by the laws and codes and statutes. We all know that. There's a case to be made. Like I said, I'm going to do both sides. There's a case to be made that if a person is here, even undocumented, they're still subject to the law, to the jurisdiction thereof, based on the fact that they're illegal. You being illegal is you being subject to the jurisdiction thereof. That's just a fact. So there's a case to be made. I'm not saying it's not. But is that the original intent of birthright citizenship? I say no. The reason I say no is because we had a clear definition prior to the 14th Amendment. And it came from the Civil Rights Act of 1866. And even in the 14th Amendment, they state the Civil Rights Act of 1866 in it, saying that that's the codification and ratification of the Civil Rights Act of 1866. Now, what does the Civil Rights Act of 1866 say? It say pretty much the same thing, but there's a difference. And this is why I'm going to use you, Ricardo. This where you come in. Let me bring it up. Let me bring it up. Because this is important. Oh, where'd it go? Damn, I lost it. Okay, all persons born and naturalized in the United States and not subject to a foreign power are citizens of the United States. Now, in the 14th Amendment, they use subject to the jurisdiction thereof. In the 1866 Civil Rights Act, they said not subject to a foreign power. So if you're an alien or a foreigner who are you subject to as far as allegiance or sovereignty? That's the question I'm asking. Just by you coming to the United States, is that you giving up your subjectivity to that foreign power? Do you believe so? Like I said, not a right or wrong answer.
I mean, this could go for Trevor too.
So
no, it can't. And this where Ricardo come in.
Yeah,
this where Ricardo come in.
Ricardo,
what do you remember during your naturalization meeting or whatever it's called? What do you remember anything?
So when you're being sworn in, because a lot of people don't realize, before you become sworn in as a citizen for the United States, you're literally given a context or a preamble, kind of like a citizenship guide or book that literally tells you the history from, well, it's watered down, so it's kind of like how you would say they would tell you, the United States was formed from the Pilgrims coming here, Mayflower.
That's the history. Yeah, that's cool. What do you remember that you had to do though? You had to do something, correct?
Right. So you have to, moving forward from all of that, because you have to break it down to people born here and have no idea how it works. So after you read that preamble and whatnot, they give you the all that stuff. You have to swear. You lift your hands.
The oath of allegiance is what it's called.
To the Constitution of the States. So you literally inhale, I pledge the flag to the country, to the Constitution. I therefore am, adhering to the laws and abiding by the United States law. So in grand context, you're literally swearing your life to take care of this country. It's pretty much what you're doing, swearing in the citizen.
Okay, I thought you may have known it like verbatim. I guess you forgot. So let me read. Remember, we just talked about being subject to a foreign power. Now, if you're here in this country, quote unquote, illegally, who are you subject to? Obviously, if you paying in taxes and you're subject to the jurisdiction. But in the 14th Amendment, with John Bingham and Thaddeus Stevens, they essentially reverted back to the original definition of the 1866 Civil Rights Act. It talks about foreign power. We have to come, now this is the argument for me. We have to come to an understanding, whether it be through Supreme Court, whoever, where does that foreign power come from and how do we renounce it? Ricardo knows how they renounce it, because you renounce it through the oath of allegiance, which clearly says, remember, let me know if you remember this part, Ricardo. I hereby declare on oath that I absolutely and entirely renounce and abjure all allegiance and fidelity to any foreign prince, potentate, state, or sovereignty of whom or which I have heretofore been a subject or citizen. That's how you do it.
Yes, I do remember that part.
So if you come into the country with no official renouncement of a foreign power, by definition of the 1866 Civil Rights Act, you're a foreign or alien. Now, one more thing and I'm done. They had Senate and House debates during the ratification of the 14th Amendment. Everybody understands that. They just didn't come up out the blue and ratify the 14th Amendment. They had to discuss it. The radical Republicans, which I am, discussed this in Congress. And this is what Trumbull said when this was Howard. This was Howard of Ohio. He said, this will not, talking about birthright citizenship, this will not, of course, include persons born in the United States who are foreigners, comma, aliens, comma, who belong to families of ambassadors or foreign ministers, meaning if it's a foreign ambassador living in the consulate and they have a child here in the United States, obviously that child is not a United States citizen because they're sovereign sovereign on their consulate. Everybody agree with that, right?
So, all right, go ahead. I get your drift. I'm gonna hit you back with something else that happened during World War II. But go ahead. I get what you're saying.
So it says, but it will include other class of persons, and they also, of course, excluded the Indians because the Indians were sovereign on their own tribal lands. But go ahead, Ricardo.
So what happens in a case where a monarch is born in this case? So this is similar in distinction when you have the United Nations not being a part of us, even though it's in New York City. It's technically
Right. Those ambassadors are foreign dignitaries. They're sovereign to their own land. They not a part of the jurisdiction thereof. They not. The only way that you can be subject to the jurisdiction of the United States as it pertains to birthright citizenship is through oath of allegiance, according to what the framers of the 14th Amendment said. That's just a fact. Now, again, there's not any transfer of strategy as it pertains to quote unquote mass deportation. It's going to be catastrophic economically for us. I never take that away. It's dumb. It's stupid.
Of course it is.
But in the case of what we talk about with birthright citizenship, I do believe wholeheartedly that the only way that you can have a path through birthright citizenship is through naturalization of the parents. That's the only way.
At least I got that out of you, MD. I was waiting to see where you were angling it from, because you can't do anything unless and again, like it's one of those things. Again,
Ricardo, you went away again.
Can you hear me? God, I can't stand AT&T in this dead zone. So what I was saying, I get, MD's angle with it, because again, he is correct. You can't do it unless you're naturalized. It's only fair, and that's why for me, when you have people do this, the Cubans can come here wet foot and dry foot. This whole thing they talk about when if they end up on soil or sand and it's wet foot, dry foot. They are given. I don't believe in that. I think you ask most, and it's funny. You ask certain people or immigrants that are here, went through the process. They will tell you, hey, but I went through the correct way of coming here. I did my due diligence. Why is it that certain people come through and then they automatically get certain provisions? It's one of those things where the argument will work in that angle based on what MD is saying, but again, naturalization, in terms of the context of speaking here, is the way it's gonna work. I agree with him on that point. But again, how does this curtail into the whole going to the fine prints? Then based on how you said it, how do you think SCOTUS would then position it in terms of everything else? That's where fusion comes in terms of how it progresses forward. Because then the Project 2025 people could come up with their law, but then the 14th Amendment was saying that black citizens are not subjugated to being citizens of this country because they weren't looked at as like whatever they want to come up with in language.
Well, that's a good point. A lot of white supremacists will try to make that argument, but it'll be shot down because, to me, we were citizens on day one, based on 3/5 compromise. But if you want to make that argument, we became naturalized through the 13th Amendment. That's how Black Americans became naturalized in the United States, through the 13th Amendment, through the abolishment of slavery. Then the 14th Amendment came along and gave the birthright citizenship clause. All the children of those freed slaves then became citizens through that. It's a simple process. So a dumb white person could easily be shot down because they don't even understand their quote unquote own history, which is more of a history to me than it is them. Because I'm foundationally, no pun intended, American. I did a funny there, Venkat. I did a funny. But you know, but it's a fact though. It's a fact. Venkat became naturalized through the annexation, pretty much, of the United States Virgin Islands.
Yep.
And so on and so forth.
Oh, well, MD, that was
But Trevor's wanted though. Trevor's a wanted man out there.
Oh, damn.
and Melania and Barron, they too are also subject to.
You took it up. That's where I was gonna go into next, Venkat. I'm glad you went there. So when somebody points this out to Trump, because again, his ex-wife, the one that died, buried on his property to try to save money on taxes. So, these people that he had, you know, from his former wife, that some of them were born on U.S. soil. Wouldn't that subjugate his kids to not technically be, you know, what you get, you know, based on 25 people, technically, you know, citizens, if they're going to go in the path that I think they're going? JD Vance, in the particular case, your wife, technically, if correct me if I'm wrong, because, you know, y'all are my witnesses, she was technically born here. So wouldn't that subjugate his actual sons that are of mixed Indo heritage and white, not technically be Americans as well? So this is where you hear me in terms of the path they're heading down. Like MD mentioned, it will be shot down because it encompasses a whole bunch of stuff in terms of what we're not discussing. So I know off rip, I know SCOTUS is gonna go, okay, well, based on such and such a litigation case, blah blah blah, it's gonna be shut down. But that won't stop them from coming up with an argument of, oh, wait a minute, you know, based on the laws that you guys passed in 1912, you guys did say that black people weren't so, or you guys did say that, you know, the Japanese weren't so and so in terms of the internment camps that they were. So they could push them, they know exactly what they're doing. They did say this, and if you, like MD read the because I read most of Project 5, if y'all have not read it, you really did miss the opportunity of knowing where they were heading with all of this, because it doesn't surprise me. But it is so shocking to see the emboldenment of where they're going, because it ties into what I've been saying. It seems like it's a white nationalistic point of view, and it's pushing for that narrative of white is for so long that we're now going to this whole position of birthright. We're going to get rid of DEI, do away with learning about the historical context of what black contribution has done for, you know, this country. It's so like very evident. It's like you cannot ignore it, but then you go like it really overall. I don't know. This country is built on immigration. I cannot stress it enough. MD, you might make the difference in certain contexts in regards.
No, you're right. I'm not gonna question that. I mean, it's so much built on immigrant. Let me say this before you continue.
Yeah, go ahead.
Remember, prior to 1924 in the Immigration Act, there was no such thing as naturalization. The people that came from Ellis Island, they just got off the boat.
Correct.
And just went on by their merry way. It wasn't no naturalization.
Yeah, that's true.
So what of them? They are they still subject to their foreign power of Italy and all the places they came from? According to the Naturalization Act, they are, because they didn't pledge allegiance to the United States, nor did they renounce their prior government. They didn't do none of that. They just got off the boat, waved to the Statue of Liberty, and went on New York somewhere and worked somewhere. That's all they did.
But
meanwhile, you had quotas on everybody else. It's a case in 1898, the Warren Kmart case. That's the precedent that's gonna come before the Supreme Court about this whole thing. It was a Chinese national. Parents were here on, I guess you could call it at that time a work. It wasn't no such thing as a work visa, but they were here working. They were not American citizens, but their son was born here. He left when he got older. He left, went to China for some work stuff, came back. He was denied entry. He took it all the way to the Supreme Court and won the case. The Supreme Court said he was born here, therefore he's a United States citizen. So there's a precedent I'm not. That's why I believe, it's not going to go nowhere. That's just my belief, based on that precedent. Now, again, that same Supreme Court that said that Chinese guy was a citizen also ruled on the Plessy versus Ferguson case separate but equal. But hey, what I know, you know what I'm saying? But the precedent is still there. So go ahead, Ricardo.
No, so it's one of those things where I guess we're gonna have to do an episode on this because it's a lot that I think entails this whole subject matter. But I think I'm surprised you're not up here, Trevor, because usually you will go toe to toe with MD and certain things. But yeah, it's one of those things where again I question the whole context. It's even permanent residency. Like if you're gonna say you're being.
Oh, we lost Ricardo again. Oh. Yeah, got you.
Yeah. So no, I was asking MD, what did you say again? It's like it's not pledging allegiance, but not being subjugated to what, the foreign power, meaning like the country that you're from. Once you come into the U.S. and you're being naturalized, it's like you're basically going forward as an American. I think one of those things where I wanted to bring up a point about being a citizen here, that the U.S. doesn't recognize dual citizenship. They hate it. It's one of those things where they if you notice, a lot of times the U.S. cannot stand that word dual citizenship. They hate it. It's either you're American or you're American, but whereas other countries are like, and for instance, Canada does this well, you're Canadian, but you can also be Jamaican. You are British, but you also can be this. Where America is like, you're American, you're American. There's no denying that you're now American going forward. And they stress that when you're in the citizenship ceremony. There is no, but I'm gonna keep my old Jamaican identity. You're also stating, hey, once I put my hands up and I pledge allegiance, you're just strictly American going forward. So that's where I always question that thing where they always say, but we're a melting pot. Again, that's a whole different thing. It's you're gonna say your melting pot is one thing, but I'd rather you say you're multicultural. I don't lose my identity because I was born in another country. I'm still Jamaican, whether or not you like it or not. But I respect the idea of saying I pledge allegiance, I'm respectful to the laws, and I'm abiding by the concept of this country that gave me the permission to be naturalized here. So that's the whole thing I wanted to bring a point across, is that the United States does not like or recognize people to be dual citizenship. Dual citizens is what I wanted to say.
They don't like it. They don't like it unless you one of them people. Shalom.
Or you're a criminal, where you go back to the country and then hide. So there's a whole thing to it. There's a whole litigation thing to it that they always tell you, that they want you to understand the context of, once you're American, you're a United States citizen, you're just strictly that. There's no I'm an Italian and I'm American. No, your passport should strictly just be a U.S. citizen, if that makes sense.
Yeah, you're right. Well, the United States don't like it. For tax purposes, they don't like it. They don't like you generating the revenue somewhere else where they can't get their cut. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, but Uncle Sam always gets his money, right? So even in either case,
if you're a dual citizen, technically, again, that goes back to the jurisdiction thereof. If you go somewhere else and you have a business in another country, that business is subject to the jurisdiction of that country for tax purposes. America don't get none of that money.
So what you saying, MD?
It's a fine line.
But why Uncle Sam get some of the cut of that other country? Like once I told you I'm pledging allegiance to you, how dare you then try to come to me and say, but wait a minute, why are you going to Switzerland? They're supposed to be shared with us. We need that tax revenue. This is what I'm talking about here. The whole thing.
Now, hold on, wait a minute, Ricardo. Check out Trail. He said, MD, we actually swore an oath to the country. You didn't. Again, I didn't have to swear an oath because my oath is codified in the Constitution. Yours is not. You have to naturalize it to the country. I don't have to do that.
But why?
My birthright is sworn, signed, sealed, delivered, etched in stone through the 13th and the 14th Amendment. So if you want to play if you want to do the diaspora war, Trevor, we can do that. My bad, Ricardo. Go ahead.
But how do you feel about us taking the oath, MD, and you just get to sit there and go, oh, but see, I'm not supposed to be doing that because I was born here, so why should I be subjugated to doing all of that? When you hear people, and this is where you always hear the immigration stance of immigrants saying, but MD has it way more easier. Why is it that then you have people on the road begging for stuff when you look at me and then you're gonna turn around and beg me for whatever? When you had it easy, when you're in this country, everything that you question about why I'm getting is the same thing you are capable of having this whole time. So when I hear people like go, oh, but how dare Ricardo come here and he gets to go to college and then he goes, but mind you, Ricardo built himself up by going to college. Nothing was handed to him free here. He literally had to work, go to school, take the bus, drive about 1.5 hours to get to college, come back home, and do all of that. But then you're like, oh, but how dare he gets a car? Mind you, it's a free market, by the way. So, that's where America first, capitalism and all that. You cannot, he's an immigrant. How dare he moves and supersedes himself above me? This is the argument you always hear. So that's why you hear Trevor goes, but we took an oath because that's what they told us we have to do. In order for you to be an American citizen, you're pledging allegiance. You must be naturalized. This is why you always hear me, and I will make this argument all day long. Sorry for you, my Cuban neighbors to the north of me from my island. You don't get to come here and go, oh, but my feet was planted on sand, and this dry foot, wet foot thing gives me no. You're not gonna hear the Bahamians go, oh, but that's fair, Cubans. You get your foot on the soil and you automatically get refugee status or whatever you want to call it. It doesn't work like that. Everybody's gonna tell you the same thing. We went through the naturalized way, so therefore you need to go to the same route. This is where you're gonna hear, arguments from both sides, which is so funny when it's polarizing, to hear, oh, but I went the naturalized way, but then you hear the Cubans go, but wait, they said that if we put our foot, wet foot, dry foot in the law, do we even know if that's still in place?
Well, what you're talking about is refugee and asylum status. I'm not even factoring that into the equation.
No, but I'm saying
yes, there should be refugee and asylum status. Of course, if somebody is being persecuted in another country by human right,
hold
got the right.
on, MD. Hold on, you can't say that, and they're deporting Mexicans. They're trying to get refuge from violence and whatnot. And
I don't disagree with none of that. Go ahead.
By the way, the violence is originating because of America's fault. Americans are fueling.
I don't disagree with that.
They're fueling the drug wars that's going on in Mexico.
I don't disagree with none of that.
Americans is actually the source of the problem.
I don't disagree with none of that. That's why I'm not differentiating what Trump is doing from a mass deportation standpoint in the asylum issue. We should advocate for that. But by international law, we don't really have a choice but to advocate for it because it's a human right. So I take what I'm saying with a grain of salt as far as that particular issue. I'm not equating that to this, if that make any sense. I'm just saying, generally speaking, the immigration issue has been here far longer than the asylum issue. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying, generally speaking, as it pertains to somebody that's here illegal, an asylum seeker is not here illegally. Let's cut that out right now. If you seek asylum and you're here in this country, by international law, we supposed to give you shelter pending your asylum status. So Trump is bypassing. He doing something illegal. I don't disagree with that. What I'm saying is, generally speaking, when it comes to illegal immigration, generally, the birthright citizenship issue, there's an argument there that birthright citizenship, based on the debates that were had at the time, based on the original codification of what birthright citizenship is only through naturalization and in my particular point, the 13th and 14th Amendment. That's just what it is. There's an argument to be made, and Trump and his legal team gonna make that argument. Now, like I said again, I don't think they're gonna do anything on it based on the precedence that's already there. But there's an argument to be made, and I just made the argument.
All right.
And Ricardo, one more thing, Ricardo, he tried to play diaspora war with me a little bit too. So it ain't no Jamaican, it ain't no Haitian, it ain't no Bahamian. None of those people out on the street asking for change. It's only the Black American people. I got you, Ricardo. I got you. y'all driving around in your fancy cars, and we on the corner of the expressway asking for money. I got you. I know what you meant.
I mean, people want to make it look like, oh, it's the immigrants that are always begging. I beg to differ with that one. But yeah, I try to draw you out in arguments because somebody got to do it. Because if Trevor is not going to come up here because he's busy right now, I need to draw out the argument somewhere. But yeah, I just wanted to bring up that point where, if we're going to do all this, we're going to tie in the whole thing of the asylum seekers, the refugees, all of that, and what it means in the context of moving forward to be naturalized. Because again, I think Trevor brought up the point where he said, I think Obama rid of wet foot, dry foot. For the longest time, that annoyed me. Even though I'm an actual immigrant who was natural, I just never believed in that concept of why Cubans and deliberately say I'm gonna put my foot on U.S. soil and I automatically get what's the word I'm looking for here? What's the word I'm looking for? Something I can't remember what you call it, but you know what I mean. It's like they automatically get the pass to say, oh, for whatever reason I'm running away from whatnot. As a regular person like myself who came in, became a permanent resident, did all of that, did my due diligence, went the climbing the civic ladder of being a citizen, you're then going to say, oh, but they get a pass and they just get it free. And this is why you have this distortion between, people who are saying, oh, and the MAGA group love to mix this all up. Oh, but you see, these people are doing, it's not about that. It's about, the context of how people get or climb that civic ladder is what really annoys and aggravates a lot of people like myself. So when you give certain people provisions, and I know they took it away, but for the longest time, that annoyed me because I'm like, okay, they just, a whole boatload of them came and they're automatically getting, a reprieve. That's not fair because then what does that say for everybody else who takes a boat to come here? What about the Haitians? What about they're automatically being sent back? You see what I'm saying? But then Venkat brought up a good point. When you have the Mexicans, the El Salvadorians, the rest of the Central people that come here, they're running away from persecution from their country, right? So you're doing, when the megamaniacs go, oh, but we're going to round up and send a whole boatload of, not boatload, like airplane, I don't know how they're doing this, back to Colombia, and Colombia is refusing them to allow back into their border. It's like, oh, but then, it's all for show, pomp and, I guess it's pomp and circumstance. What's the word I'm looking for? Pomp and circumstance.
Pomp and circumstance.
Right. Because again, he has to inflate and make everything look like, oh, I'm doing something. I did this. Sir, again, if you want to call it for what it is, Obama really deported more people than you did. And you still came in your second term and you didn't do that much. And who did most and who did what? Like but we could talk all night and go on and on. And only what the minutes want to hear through one ears and it comes up the next. So what do we know? But I'm just saying. All the nigga.
All right. All right. So before we go into DEI, I'm going to go to a video here that I'm very curious to see what both Ricardo and MD have to say. This is a man getting shot, and want to see. Let's pay attention to how he got shot, why he got shot, and we'll analyze the video and have our thoughts on the other end. We'll be right back.
Today we're going to talk about a video that honestly made me angrier than I've ever been in a very long time. I've seen some wild stuff in my years doing what I do. Politicians saying ridiculous things about guns, anti-Second Amendment activists spreading fear-mongering nonsense. But this one takes the cake. This isn't just about incompetence. This is about sheer and utter negligence that could have cost someone their life. So here's the setup. A man gets pulled over during a routine traffic stop. He's fully cooperative, tells the officer he's armed, and gets out of the vehicle, following every instruction to the letter.
He blew that red light.
The light was yellow and turned red when I went under.
It was red when he blew it.
It was yellow.
You got anything crazy in the car?
Yeah.
What you got?
A gun.
You got a gun?
Mm-hmm.
You do? All right, where's that? It's on you? Okay. As long as you're cool. And...
Oh, I'm chill. I ain't finna lie to you.
No, man, I appreciate your honesty.
Oh, I ain't got time to lie.
That's awesome. So you have concealed carry and all that good stuff? No, you don't? All right, you're not a convicted felon, right? Nothing?
I do everything, whatever
okay.
I should go do.
All right. So what we're going to do is, just for my safety, your safety, I'm going to have you step out. All right, fair enough? And we're just going to remove the pistol from you. And then we're going to run your license to make sure everything's good. And I'm going to send you on your way.
Sounds like a responsible gun owner, right? And then, somehow, through a baffling display of sheer fucking utter ignorance.
Hey, he's very compliant. He does have a pistol on him. So we're going to take him out from that side, remove the pistol, and we'll go from there. All right?
Get out?
Yeah. Yeah, you're good.
On my side. On my side.
Okay. Just put your hands on the top of the vehicle for me. I appreciate it, man, being very honest.
Oh, yeah, all right.
Oh, shit. You okay?
This officer manages to shoot this man with his own gun while trying to disarm him.
I appreciate it, man, being very honest.
Oh, yeah, all right.
Oh, shit. You okay? Hey. Put the gun down. Put it down. You okay? You got shot in the leg. Rest of 1068. That was nice with a gunshot to his leg.
Are you kidding me? Like, are you absolutely kidding me? This man did everything right. He was cooperative, followed the law, informed the officer about his firearm, and stepped out of the car without issue. And yet, because Officer Mindy Cardwell apparently skipped the Firearm 101 class at the academy, this man ends up in the hospital with a bullet hole in his leg from his own gun.
Where's your pistol at? On my side.
Okay. So, put your hands on top of the vehicle for me. I appreciate it, man, being very honest.
Oh, yeah, all right.
Oh, shit. You okay? Hey. Put the gun down. Put it down. You okay?
Look, I get that not every cop is a gun expert. I get that. But in a country where constitutional carry is the norm in most states, it is inexcusable for an officer not to know how to handle a situation involving a legally armed citizen. Like, why are you trying to take the gun out of the holster in the first place? Why? The holster exists to keep the gun secured and the trigger covered. If you absolutely have to disarm someone, take the whole damn holster. You don't go fishing around like you're trying to pull a prize out of a cereal box. And let's talk about this trigger pull. I can tell you exactly what happened. She put her little grubby fingers in the trigger guard, whether or not out of ignorance or nervousness, and she pulled the trigger. There's no complexity about this. This is exactly what happened. Now, I'm not saying she did this on purpose, but I'm saying she's so untrained, so unqualified, that she doesn't know how to handle a firearm safely. That's what we call a negligent discharge. And no, Officer Caldwell, the gun didn't just go off. She didn't say that, at least I didn't hear her say that, but usually those are the words that tend to spring up whenever stuff like this happens. The gun just went off. No, it didn't. This is what makes me so furious. This wasn't some freak accident. This was preventable. This was a direct result of poor training and incompetence. And let me tell you something else. This man is lucky he was carrying at the 3 o'clock position. If he'd been carrying appendix, like a lot of us do, he'd probably be dead. One shot to the femoral artery, and it's game over. There's no coming back from that.
I had just gotten off of work. I was heading, I believe, towards downtown 27th and Main, where I kind of went through a traffic light that was actually yellow, but it turned red pretty quick. Officer pulled me over. He asked me, do you know why he stopped me? I told him, that light back there, I said, but you saw what happened. But he said, I didn't attempt to try to stop, but I told him if I tried to stop, I would have either slid through traffic light or he would have rear-ended me because he was behind me. He proceeded to ask me, do I have any, do I have my driver license insurance on me? I said, yeah. He asked me, do I have any guns or weapons? I told him I have a firearm. He asked me, where is it? I said, it's on me personally. He said, okay. He said, well, what I'm gonna do is have you step out, have my partners, remove the gun and we'll proceed forward. I said, okay, no problem. Stepped out. One officer, guy told me to put my hand on top of the truck, which I did. He started frisking me, and as he went down, I guess he had the lady to remove, the other fellow officer to remove the gun from me. She tugged on the gun the first time, then she tugged again. And that's when I told her, hey, just let me unloosen my belt because it's tight. And I guess, I don't know if she might have got nervous or whatever, but she pulled harder 2 more times, and that's when the gun, it discharged, and it shot me in my upper thigh, hip, and came out my inner on my right side. So it pretty much, it damaged me pretty good. It's kind of, it messed with me, as far as me working and stuff, certain things in my job I can't do no more, perform, like getting up on equipment and stuff, different things. I have to get on top of trains and unload stuff, forklift, crane, whatever, I have to do at my job. It's kind of hard for me to do it. I can do it, but it's challenging, like real bad.
Was that officer who was the one who actually pulled the gun, was she in the car with the original officer, or did she come as like backup?
I think she came as backup because the guy that initially stopped me, he was by himself. And then when I looked out my driver's side, it was 2 more officers there, which I didn't see come up. It was kind of, everything went fast.
Just to clarify, an officer first asked you if you had a firearm, and
Correct.
That's when you disclosed it.
Correct, yeah, he asked me, and I told him, yes, I do. And he asked me, what was it? I said it was on me.
So are you guys pursuing legal action against the sheriff's office at this point? We expect a lawsuit or anything?
Yes, we are pursuing legal action. Mr. Arrington's civil rights were violated on December 13th, and we will pursue a civil rights lawsuit as a result of that. He suffered physical harm. We believe that he may have lost wages going forward and a lost capacity to work and earn. He is a crane operator and has a physical job. He describes some of the duties that he has at work. This particular officer who caused injury to Mr. Arrington, we don't believe was properly trained, certainly did not follow protocol.
This man, as far as I'm concerned, he deserves $1 quadrillion. And I know that sounds kind of childish, but that's to the extent at which I think he needs to be compensated. Give him $1 quadrillion, and then give him 5 more guns. This isn't just about this one officer. This is a systemic issue. Law enforcement agencies need to make firearm training an absolute priority. If you're going to interact with armed citizens, and you will because this is America, you need to know how to handle these situations without putting lives at risk. And no, this isn't some anti-cop rant. I have the utmost respect for good, well-trained officers who do their jobs with professionalism. But when someone like this is out there with a badge and a gun, man, they're a liability to themselves and their colleagues and to the public. The Jacksonville Sheriff's Office says they're gonna fire her, and as far as I'm concerned, that's a good start. But it's not enough.
All right, there we go. That story from Jacksonville, Florida. So I'm going to go to MD. MD, what's your thoughts on that video?
Well, first of all, Colin Noir, he's an idiot. Like he's already been exposed. He just a nigga that the NRA got to make them look good. He don't know what he's talking about. The reason I know he don't know what he's talking about, ain't no way in hell you got a enclosed IWB holster and the trigger go off. That's impossible, first and foremost. If you got an enclosed inside the waistband holster with a belt clip on it, that gun is not going to go off. I don't care how much you tug on it because the trigger guard is enclosed. It's impossible. A lot of times it's molded to the shape of the trigger guard. It's impossible for it to go off. So more than likely, and I haven't seen this story, so I don't know nothing about it. More than likely, he had a quick draw holster with a belt loop, meaning it went under the trigger guard, and you saw the lady was pulling and tugging on it, and she hit that trigger and it went off. Second of all, yeah, that guy, his civil rights were violated. He's a dumbass because he should have never got out the car. Why? What are you getting out the car for, Venkat?
Well, the police asked him to get up.
I don't give a damn what the police asked. What's the probable cause of him getting out of the car? There was none. It was a traffic violation. Give me my ticket so I can get the hell on. No, I'm not getting out the car. You want to escalate it? We can escalate it. I win every time. Go ahead. I want you to escalate it. Because that lady was fine, by the way. But that lawyer of his, she was correct. His civil rights was violated. Because there was no reason for him to get out of the car at all. For running the red light, that's not probable cause, Venkat. So shame on him for getting out and complying. Because he would have had a case either way. Ain't no way in hell the police pulled me over. I know I got my pistol on me. And they asked me, do I have any weapons? What you need to know that for? That's what I would say.
Wouldn't it be for their own safety?
What? Venkat, I ran a red light. Damn they safety. Give me my ticket so me and you can get the hell on. No probable cause mean no getting out of the car. I don't give a damn what you say.
But what if they're suspicious of you being a illegal alien or driving while black?
Hey, man. Again, no probable cause. I'm not getting out of nothing. I'm not telling you what I got. I'm not telling you the color of my hair, my eyes, my height, my weight. I'm not telling you none of that. Here's my license and registration. Go run my stuff. Write me the ticket so I can leave.
You know, it seems like every time a black person says, hey, I got a gun on me, they always end up getting shot up.
So stop saying it. You don't have to tell them that you got a gun. They don't. What they need to know that for? Only when you're and they're clear and concise on probable cause, and they tell you to step out of the vehicle. Then you say, hey, look, I'm a concealed weapon permit holder. My gun is wherever this location. Give them instructions on how to get it. Because they don't know what kind of holster you got. You know, my granddad always used to tell me, go through life believing that everybody that's around you is dumb as hell. That's how you maneuver through life. I don't give a damn who they are, what credentials they got. You know, go through with the intent that they are dumbass. And that's how you got to do it with everybody. That's why I tell my kids. So yeah, but he was a dumbass on his part. He should have never got out of the car. He would have never got shot.
Hey, so who is this? Who's Trevor and you talking about? Is fine. The lawyer.
Talking about the lawyer. Yeah, the lawyer.
Oh, okay, the lawyer. Okay. I thought you were talking about the lady that shot the guy.
No, I see her too quick. She moved too swiftly when that damn shot went off.
Yeah, she looked like she should be a part of the Three Stooges. She looked completely confused, and the guy had to say, "Put down the gun. Put down the gun."
Yes, he didn't even know what to do at that point. Crazy, man.
All right, Ricardo, what are your thoughts here on that video? What do you ascertain from this one?
Overall, just again, nothing surprised me in this damn country anymore. when it comes to
Say
black
what?
folk.
Yeah. Oh, my bad. I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Ricardo. Oh, just to answer Trevor real quick, it was Jacksonville,
This was
Florida.
So yeah, it's one of those things where, time and time again, no matter how careful a black person, is when it comes to law enforcement, always some trigger incident, whether it be, that assistant that was trying to help the autistic kid in Miami-Dade, and he was the actual teacher trying to tell them, hey, it's my student, he's going to comply to what I tell him to do, and they still fired a shot and shot the teacher. Mind you, he was a black guy, and the autistic kid is a Spanish kid. There's been incidents where we have Castillo, where he's in the car, licensed gun owner, and the police officer, remember during the pandemic, where he's like in the car, soon to be wife and his daughter, or his mama, or is whatever you want to call it, because they always like to spin the narrative. It doesn't seem suitable for them. I told them, hey, my gun holster is right here, I'm gonna reach for it, and the guy, enforcement officer, and shot the man to death. It's like you can never, when it comes to law enforcement and a black man, woman, or whoever, it's a weapon, whether it be a concealed weapon, whether it be, be gun owner. It's very frightening, because if it was the opposite way around, it seems to me, and it will always, and I hate this, because it's like one of those things where you're saying to yourself, do white people get a pass when it comes to like carrying weapons and all of that? Or is it just a natural fear of when it comes to any black person, whether it be a black guy that looks professional, or a black guy that looks or deemed to be thuggish, or it's for some reason there's a natural fear there, even for law enforcement officers. Why? I will never understand. If I'm telling you that I have a weapon, I'm literally disclosing to you, like MD stated, I don't have to tell you that I have a weapon, but therefore he chose to tell them. The only problem, and I've said this, if you notice, I've said this, even in the beginning of the show, where I told you my coworker's husband said, I'm not getting out of my vehicle, because even though you're ICE, you need to give me probable cause. What am I getting out of my vehicle for? Did I commit a crime? Are you arresting me? Did I have a citation? They couldn't answer the question, but they could choose to run the license plate. That will give them enough information that they will need. If there's a rap sheet there, they could see it. Why are you getting out of your vehicle? I will never understand. The same thing applies when you're in your domicile. Why are you letting a law officer into your domicile? It's your house. You don't need to open your door and go anywhere. No, you're within your jurisdiction and your rights not to. So this is things where I feel like we need to educate. Not even we. People need to do their due diligence, do their homework. Stop being nervous when law enforcement pull up behind you with their lights flashing. I don't know if it's this thing where we're naturally like nervous, or stop it. Like, you don't need to be fearful of law enforcement officers. Now we know what they're capable of doing, but you have the law on your side when you know your rights and your civic duties. Stop giving them emboldened powers that they don't need to have. Again, if you're doing illegal, they need to point it out. Keep your ass quiet. You have the right to remain. There's a reason why they tell you have the right to remain silent. You don't even need to talk. Sometimes you could just be silent, mute, and then ask for a lawyer to be present. They have to produce, in this country, believe it or not, you are entitled to a lawyer who will then fight for your rights. That's your due diligence. So again, like MD mentioned, again, it comes down to education. I don't know if it's just our community being, and you can't even blame us though, and I'm sure you can all agree with me on the panel of what, Black people have gone through in this country. But at the same length and breath, isn't it time that we start being smart and enlightened in terms of knowing education, and stop using, I don't know if I want to say fear tactics or being fearful. Start educating yourself, start knowing the knowledge of like the laws and your civic duties, and use that to embolden yourself to not making them get away with certain bullcrap. Just like we know they're supposed to be wearing a body camera on them, and there's certain things, if you're not comfortable, ask for like your superior, who is your manager, who is your whatnot. If white folks can do it, you can do it too. Where is your sergeant? Who is your like ask questions? But you don't need to get out of your vehicle. There's no reason for you to do that. Stop giving them ammunition to do these things. It gets very tiring after a while just to hear the same stories and still knowing better and still allowing them to get away with it. Stop it. It's annoying. It's getting very aggravating to me. Like, stop.
Now, even think about this, Ricardo. Like I said, the whole situation is dumb. She couldn't even get your gun. Like okay, let's make the argument. She tried to take the whole holster out, which is stupid, right? Let's just make that argument. But even in that aspect, he said his pants were so tight he couldn't even. If something happened, he couldn't even get his gun out because his damn pants so tight where he can't draw. So what you got your pistol on for? Especially in the car. Like, that's stupid.
Maybe he wanted to be stopped and frisked by a woman police officer. You don't know him.
This is a dumb story. Like, when I'm in my car, I'm in my truck, right? Like I wear inside the waistband, I wear 3 o'clock just like him. And that, you know, like for a big person, like I got a beer belt. That's uncomfortable. It bite into your stomach. I'm not gonna sit here and just drive around with my damn pistol in my holster, knowing damn well I can't get it out if something happens. So guess what? I'm gonna take it out while I'm driving. I'm gonna put it somewhere where it's readily accessible. That way, if something pop off, I know I can get to my pistol. Like, this is a dumb story, man. On both sides, it's a stupid story.
So it's stupid on his part and the cop's part.
Exactly.
Oh man. Oh man, I almost died tonight with that one, man. Golly. But yeah, it's a messed up story. I mean, he should sue them, and he should win. I mean, he should win. Just how much he's going to get compensated. That's the next question. But man, that's crazy. Now,
but I'm sure they're going to settle, of course, because I mean that's typically what they do. At the end of the day, did they say that the actual police officer got fired?
Yeah, she got fired.
Okay, so I'm not sure she's going to be capable of getting a pension. She probably was a newbie, and again, these newbies that are coming on not really well, which is the other issue. All these people you're putting in, and it doesn't. The new president is saying, "Oh, but I'm going to give the law to law enforcement officers to do whatever they want." You need to educate law enforcement officers that are coming into the force that are brand new. And it doesn't help when the bad apples that know better, are worried about other things and they're not getting reprimanded by bullcrap. But then, it takes a lot to govern, people who are the policing are put in place the police as well. Who's policing them? That's the greater question of the day when it comes to law enforcement. Who is really going to be policing them? Because again, don't they have unions, things that protect them? And even when they do certain things, they're gonna get what they usually get. They get a slap on the wrist where they get something without crap. It's never anything where they're like, "Well, I'm gonna fire." Like, when she's fired, because I'm assuming she's fairly new, but
Trevor is wild for that comment. It's wild, man.
I can't. Well, again, why did you tell them all that information? My pants is tight, all this. That's too much.
I can't get that out of my mind. When MD said that, I can't get that out of my mind.
This closing all of that crap. But maybe MD again, maybe he might have a fetish where he's like telling the female officer, "Hey, my pants is tight. I might need you to frisk and what." You don't know, MD.
Yeah. Is that a gun in your pocket, or are you just happy to see me?
Oh my God, man. This is crazy. Oh man. All right, so let's carry on now. We'll get into DI, then lame duck. But that's the last part of of the Trump story, really, his attention to and targeting the DEI program. So let's take a look at the video here, and we'll be back on the other end.
Amazon is scaling back some of its diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives, joining a growing list of major corporations making similar moves in light of increasing political scrutiny. The company's vice president of inclusive experiences and technology, Candy Castleberry, sent out a recently uncovered memo to employees last month, according to Bloomberg. In it, she says the company was winding down outdated diversity and inclusion programs, adding, quote, rather than have individual groups build programs, we are focusing on programs with proven outcomes, and we also aim to foster a more truly inclusive culture. The note didn't say which programs the company was dropping, but the Washington Post reports sections from its website, including equity for Black people and LGBTQ+ rights, were removed from the page, along with all mentions of transgender. The site currently still has other diversity sections listed, including Latinos at Amazon, Amazon people with disabilities, and Black Employee Network. In 2020, Amazon set a goal of doubling the number of Black employees in vice president and director roles, announcing the same goal in 2021, in addition to pledging to hire 30% more Black employees in top positions. Other major companies have also recently curbed DEI programs. On Friday, we reported Meta was ending its diversity, equity, and inclusion programs effective immediately. We've seen similar moves at McDonald's, Ford, and Walmart, to name a few. The DEI changes come ahead of a second term for President-elect Donald Trump, who signed an executive order toward the end of his first term in 2020, banning diversity training in government agencies, contractors, and institutions that get federal funding. President Joe Biden signed an executive order when he took office, asking government agencies to promote chief diversity officers and hold DEI training, which some are now anticipating Trump will eliminate. The changes for companies also come after conservative criticism of DEI programs and the Supreme Court's ruling against affirmative action in 2023, reversing a decades-long effort to boost enrollment of racial minorities at universities. The debate has critics who argue DEI policies violate the principle of equal treatment under the law when it comes to admissions, hiring, and promotions, against advocates who say diversity programs are still necessary to address inequality.
More breaking news. Target announcing it is rolling back diversity, equity, and inclusion programs at the company. In a memo to employees, the Minneapolis-based company says it will end its 3-year DEI goals, stop reports to external diversity-focused groups, and end a program focused on carrying more products from Black or minority-owned businesses. The decision follows President Trump's executive orders almost immediately after his inauguration to end the government's DEI programs. NBC's Brian Chung joining us now with that. Brian, this is a pretty significant change of direction for Target, right? Walk us through the company's history with DEI and suddenly a turnaround?
Yeah, Tom, as you outlined there, Target rolling back a number of their DEI policies in an announcement today. And in a memo that a chief executive officer in the high ranks of Target sending to employees today, they described the reason for making these DEI changes as, quote, the result of the evolving external landscape. And you can imagine what that external landscape entails. It is, of course, the new president wanting to roll back DEI within the federal government and a lot of these mounting challenges against other companies that we've seen in the last few months with regards to their DEI policies. But I want to point out, this is a pretty remarkable turn for a company, Target, that is based in Minneapolis. As you recall, that is the city where George Floyd was murdered in 2020. And Target at the time was one of the first companies to really go out and in a full-throated manner defend their efforts to try to boost DEI policies at the time. CEO Brian Cornell saying, quote, that could have been one of my Target team members. And then now here you have this announcement today, Tom, that they're rolling back those policies. It really does speak to the environment that we're in today.
First, let me say, like many companies all across the United States, we've been on a journey and we continue to be on a journey. And what we're trying to do is to ensure that every customer, every associate feels welcome here to shop and to feel like they belong. And that term belong, we've been talking about belonging
President
now.
Trump is making a massive change among federal workers. Diversity, equity, and inclusion workers have been ordered to go on paid leave starting in about 30 minutes' time. That's just one of the executive actions causing controversy in our region.
Is diversity among your suppliers still important to you at Walmart, John?
Well, starting with our company back in 1962, we were.
This is the memo getting a lot of attention, sent from the U.S. Office of Personnel Management to all of the heads of federal departments and agencies, and it orders a few things. Number one, by 5 p.m. tonight, a letter must be sent to employees in DEI roles, informing them that they will be placed on paid administrative leave immediately. They won't have to come to the office anymore, and their email access will be suspended. Also, by 5 p.m. tonight, all DEI websites and social media accounts related to the federal government must be taken down. And by next Friday, federal agencies must submit a written plan outlining how they plan to fire employees who are part of DEI offices and
He didn't answer Gayle King's question. He didn't answer it at all. There also was this $100 million initiative that they had announced after the death of George Floyd. They're getting rid of that. It was they also were funding what it was called a Center for Racial Equity, a nonprofit that Walmart launched in 2020. It's supposed to be a 5-year initiative, and so that's also being shuttered. Let's just be real, Randy. What's going on here? This is a part of the attack against critical race theory, part of the attack on affirmative action. This is all about the right-wing agenda. They have been targeting Harley Davidson, John Deere, numerous companies. They've been targeting law firms. This is what this is all about. And the problem is corporate America, they're showing how gutless they are. They're showing how they are scared. Oh my God, we don't want to be attacked by Trump and the right. And so that's all this is. And here we are. It'll be 5 years in May since George Floyd was killed. And I told folk, I said, I'll be shocked if we get to the 5th year. We barely had 3 years.
A lot of people doing their shopping, some of them specifically choosing Costco after other companies ditched their diversity, equity, and inclusion policies. Our Brittany Miller spoke to shoppers today in Harlem.
This wasn't your average trip to the grocery store. Every purchase had a purpose.
We're going to shop where we're wanted.
100 members of the National Action Network joined Reverend Al Sharpton to shop at Costco in support of the company's commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion. Shareholders recently voted against a proposal to assess the risks.
This is not a boycott. This is a boycott, where we are buying into companies that are supporting DEI measures.
This comes days after President Donald Trump signed an executive order to get rid of DEI programs. Related documents on websites like the U.S. Office of Personnel Management are gone. An HBCU conference at Rutgers University, funded by the Department of Labor, was canceled. The president has also called for all federal DEI staff to be put on paid leave and eventually laid off.
DEI started to gain traction after the killing of George Floyd. Corporations came forward and said, we're going to do diversity. We're going to do this because race needs to be dealt with.
Recently, Amazon, Walmart, McDonald's, and Meta have all rolled back their policies. The latest company to ditch DEI is Target.
I think many of them are realizing that these DEI programs were unfair. We find out when it's actually implemented, it's more like discrimination.
That's not true at all.
DEI programs basically prevent us from going backwards to a time when white supremacy and white straight men ruled the law of the land. So we are trying to prevent that pushback, which is clearly happening in this administration right now.
And this isn't the end to their call to action. Reverend Al Sharpton says over the next 90 days, they'll identify businesses who have abandoned those DEI policies and boycott them.
I have been the best president for the black population since Abraham Lincoln. That's my answer.
Better than President Johnson, who signed the Voting Rights Act.
I have been the best president for the black population since Abraham Lincoln. That's my answer.
All right, so there we go. Before we get into the subject, I had to ban, delete, and dismantle a commenter in the comments, LM, and I let him go. You could make a comment that I don't agree with, that's fine. But once you do a personal attack, and he did a personal attack on Trevor, once you do that personal attack, it's bye-bye time. Night-night. So we're gonna go to Ricardo.
I ain't even paying attention to that. I saw it when I saw some Ellen person when you brought it up, but I ain't been paying attention. I don't know.
Yeah, he's saying a lot of trash in the comments for sure. But he took it to another level when he did a personal attack. All right, so we'll go to Ricardo. Ricardo, DEI. What's your thoughts?
Well, DEI diversity. Diversity is one of those things you don't really see a lot of everywhere. I guess people are gonna say, "Oh, but they made conscientious efforts since the whole George Floyd thing," but even though it's and I will give incremental state a view of saying, okay, yes, you've made an issue. It still isn't a lot. Because what I feel happens is you do get pushback a lot of times from people, or you have grumblings under your breath from people who are like saying, "Oh, but I don't want to be given I'll give you a perfect case in point. I have an uncle that flies who is a captain for American Airlines. Mind you, he's captain, so he's the main person for the entire aircraft. You wouldn't believe how many times you have people come on board the aircraft that he's flying to then go, because of course he's the only main black man, there, and he's in charge of the aircraft again. People will go out of their way to ask the in-flight crew, "Oh, but I need to speak to somebody, or I would need to do." If they tell you he's the man that's aircraft, why are you questioning whether or not it's like it? You get all of this sense of people that feel you shouldn't be there, kind of thing. It becomes for them, and it's most because they grumble under their breath the most and all of that. But the girl said it best in the video. The whole part of it is to try to fight the whole white supremacy idea of them giving the thought of shouldn't be certain places or shouldn't be elevated in certain places and all of that. We've come so far ahead in this country to go backwards, like Target or these companies that are literally by Trump is back, pull back because the executive order came into place. If that's the case, I now all the consumers who have an issue with this, don't buy or shop or spend your money at places that don't want you there or not doing anything to try to improve or move along the initiative of bringing diversity. What's the point? Then if you want to whitewash everything, then have your whitewashing moment. You won't be seeing my money being spent there. You won't see my money purchasing certain merchandises. It's just money talks. You're in a capitalistic environment where capitalism rule. Put your money where your money is worth. Don't spend money at places and then complain. Stop buying Louis Vuitton. Stop buying these things that are useless, that doesn't help you. Buy things that further the cause for what you believe in now. And that's where it goes to show for everything. If you want to make a point be known, stop purchasing or stop buying or stop helping these companies that doesn't help you or your initiatives. It's plain and simple. I can't spell it out in layman terms any more clear, but you're always gonna have that one person that says, "Oh yes, I'm for the cause," and then 2 minutes later you're like, "Oh, but wait a minute, you're buying from that same place that said it didn't want you to be there." You know what I'm saying? It's tough because most of these companies we do need, literally have to buy merchandise and do things and do business with, but there comes a point in time where you literally now have to go where your money is worth. Like years ago, if y'all, I'm not sure most of you are aware of this, Black folks didn't buy gas from anywhere else except from Esso or Mobil, or because I think Mobil bought Esso or Esso bought Mobil. I don't remember which one, but I think it's Esso. For years, Black people were only specifically going to that particular gas station. You know why? They're the only ones that made a conscientious effort to actually help Black people when they went long distances or they were driving up north to go south or vice versa. And it's stuck from there on to this day. I literally, if I have no choice but to, I use Esso, but I usually use Esso gas station on the premise of they use automation. So I don't necessarily have to go inside the gas station anymore. I just use my app and I pump my gas from there. But they've literally done a lot of initiatives that have Black people included. So when you talk about DEI and you talk about, what do you call it, critical race theory and all this stuff, it's confusing to most white folks because they're like, well, I don't know what it is, or it sounds like Black people are doing this, or all in all, what we're saying is you need to have focus on, initiatives where people feel comfortable and feel included and not just see a swarm or sea of people that are different than them. And then the same could be said about them saying the same thing about, them feeling, but then most of the time it's white folks being uncomfortable when they see a whole sea of Black people. Oh, I'm nervous. Oh, I got to clutch. It's not always as negative as you view it to be. Sometimes you need to see, like I need my daughter or daughters to see, hey, I could look at a character in a movie and go, I could see her being her or see myself in that character or what. It shouldn't be, oh my God, the Little Mermaid she is never Black. She's never this. How would you know that? You see what I'm saying? Like there's a whole bunch of stuff that I feel like in this age, I don't know if I checked out there. I could understand one more. I just want to bring one more point. I understand people being uncomfortable about performers now. That's a whole conversation to be had where when you hear about woke and all this stuff, that's a problem, because then when you're talking about, I need to be in women's sports and I need to do this, and it's literally a male athlete, this parade itself into being in a sport initiative of being in a sport and stuff with other transform with call yourselves. You don't need to put yourself in a women's sport to prove a point. That's where I think they're targeting more towards that angle. There's a time and place now where now you want to be in bathrooms and it's getting too much. So when you talk about that, when you stole the word woke and towards that kind of thing of paintbrushing the alphabet community, that's where I can understand where the narrative of where you're going with that direction, but you basically misuse the word woke for that. But when we're talking about DEI, I mean diversity for like people like of color or people who are Hispanic or people who are of Asian heritage or Middle Eastern, and they are not, they're part of a workforce or workplace because they don't see themselves, being, I guess, progressed at or, being pointed into greater initiatives, that becomes the problem. It can't always be about, white people being uncomfortable. No, there's other people. Again, this country's based or made up on the principle of immigration. So there's going to be a plethora of people coming into this country that are from different mixed personalities, backgrounds, creed, and all of that. We have to deal with that. That you can't always pull the, but I'm a white person and, there's too many Venkats, too much MDs, and too much Ricardos, and not enough me's. You've had all of that in history. Why is it that you can't just let things into place? It's always this thing of, because there's so much of them now, we got to start to take back or roll back things. It's a bit much. I get it again. This is a whole nationalistic point of view of, we got to run with that narrative. So it wake up call the evangelicals, the white nationalists, the all of those peoples, and the MAGA group mixed up in one, and the Tea Party and all of them, whatever you guys want to call your names. It is what it is. But again, I only put my money where my money's worth. If you're not going to do anything to include me, why should I spend my money at your business? And at that. Sorry for the nigga babble.
All right, Ricardo, thank you. MD, what's your thoughts here on the DEI, Trump's initiative to eliminate DEI and all the companies that are bending the knee?
So again, it may be an unpopular take. It is what it is. I'm not mad at Walmart. I'm not mad at Target. Well, the whole thing with Target taking the product, I don't even know why they like that's going a little bit too far. But it's the old acronym. It's CYA. Cover your own ass. That's what's going on right now. I can't be mad at a company for covering their own ass. What Trump is doing right now is specifically saying that he's going to use, and to me, it's justified. He's going to use Title VII of the Civil Rights Act of 1964, which specifically targets equal employment opportunities, and says that white people are being discriminated against based on DEI. And by definition, he will be right. I mean, I know it's hard to swallow.
I don't think so. I don't even think so a little bit.
So
I think it's preposterous, to be honest.
So if a company puts in a system that specifically targets employment for specific groups of people, and the Civil Rights Act of 1964 says that you cannot do that, how is it wrong? Because the Civil Rights Act specifically said you can't do that.
Okay, so with that program going on, is there any point during the time period of the program going on that whites have been not hired?
It doesn't matter.
No, I'm just saying.
It don't matter. I don't care. I don't care if it was one black or a person of color, quote unquote.
That don't fly,
whatever
MD.
that means.
That don't fly. When you have a deficit on something and you do something to rectify that issue, how's it discriminating against the other thing? The whole issue is the whites are overpopulated in the job to begin with. That's the whole issue. That there wasn't any opportunities.
So what program is specifying targeting employment for white people?
There is no program. It's just all the people are white. They got all white.
There is no program. But there is a program for quote unquote people of color, where the Title VII of the Civil Rights Act says that you cannot do that. Ain't no way you can get around it, Venkat. It's just not. I don't care if it's one black person that get hired based on DEI. It's wrong based on the law. I'm not saying it's right based on humanity. I'm not saying that. Based on the law, it's wrong.
No, I think what's wrong is trying to exploit the law to fit that angle. And this is obviously what's happening. And with the country's history,
I don't disagree
with the country's history, there's no way that can fly. It's absurd. It's preposterous to even try to even utter the words to say that this is a legitimate argument.
So your thing is not with that. It's with the law itself. Can we at least agree on that?
My issue is with the people that are trying to interpret the law in a way that it's not meant to be.
There is no interpretation. It's quite clear on what
it's literal. No, they're using the interpretation to angle it in this way. That's all it is.
Let's go to it. Because me and you just babbling about it ain't doing it justice. Let's go to it.
Oh, come on, MD.
I mean, we got to do it because we need to know with beyond a shadow of an inclination of a doubt what's being said. I mean, that's just a fact. That's just a fact. So Title VII prohibits unequal no, damn, that's the wrong one. That's Title I. Let's talk about voter registration. Hold on. I can go to it right now.
Okay.
Because again, I would agree with you that it's nefarious means that's being played out.
Yeah.
No question, hands down. But what I'm telling you is the law is the law. Title VII of the Civil Rights Act in 1964 prohibits employment discrimination based on race, color, religion, sex, national origin. That's what it say. If you put in a program that's talking about diversity, equity, and inclusion,
Mhm.
and those people are those programs are targeting specific people based on race, color, religion, sex, guess what? It's illegal. That's just what it
Mm-mm.
is.
No, it's
So
not because
so maybe go ahead.
I was just saying. So if you go to 1964 and in that time, and you look at the hiring of people, clearly back then there wasn't much of any black people being able to be hired due to discrimination.
Right,
If you go to this time right now, just like I said before, the whites continue to get hired. And I would say, even with the program there, the whites were overwhelmingly being hired over other ethnicities or to certain groups. The white hiring rate was never threatened. So there's no justification to target a DEI program that's trying to do what the 1964 law is doing, which is to just give an opportunity or make the playing field a little bit not even level, but just better than on the bottom of where it was at originally. It's absurd. It's an absurd thing to use discrimination to attack a thing that's attacking discrimination. It's just absurd.
But no
You'll never.
discrimination is being attacked.
What?
You're not able
Yep.
to pinpoint any discrimination. Oh, first of all, here's the thing. The reason that the Title VII was put into place based on the very thing that you just said, blacks were in segregation. We were not being hired in companies based on our race. So the Civil Rights Act of 1964 was put in place so that would no longer happen to anybody. We tend to think that a lot of these amendments, a lot of these laws that were put into place based on Black American plight is specific to Black Americans. It's not, because it can't be. It's based on the plight that we had to endure. Yeah, 100%. But it was to never happen again. That's why these laws and statutes and amendments were put into place. So when we were enslaved and then we were emancipated, laws were put into place that this would never happen again to anybody. When we were discriminated against, separate but equal, Jim Crow, laws were put into place so this wouldn't happen to anybody. It's not a specific issue. I hate to say it, Venkat. And again, I understand your point. Again, nefarious means. But the fact remains that the law states nobody can be discriminated against. I don't give a damn what color you are. Nobody can be discriminated against. And the burden of proof is incumbent upon you to prove that discrimination. DEI is quite clear discrimination against white people. It's just a fact. Now, me being the person that I am, the political prophet amongst men, I would suggest, now this is just only on the Black American side, maybe, just maybe, if you stop identifying yourself based on race and maybe do it by the status in which your forefathers and the legislative radical Republicans did in the time of Reconstruction, maybe you can find a loophole. Maybe. But hey, that's just me.
So we got to walk on eggshells to hopefully get by. That don't work for me, brother.
No, I don't need to walk on eggshells because I have a clear status in the country. Maybe that goes for anybody else. Well, no, FBA, that's a code. I don't use that. And again, that got black in the name. So that don't even work. So, again, that's a suggestion. Just a suggestion.
All right. Well, we got Mr. Straight Talk, former member of Strictly Real, keeping it alive. You gotta love that. What's going on, Trevor?
What's up, fellas?
Peace,
All
what's
right.
happening?
All right, so I hate to say this, but I do agree with MD. I really, really hate to say this. MD, do you believe so by your logic and everything I'm just hearing you say, I think you would agree with this. You think that they should get rid of the Rooney Rule too, correct?
I've been saying that's some BS. I've been
Okay,
saying
but
that.
I just want to make
That's
sure that we.
actually discriminatory as well, because they're specifically making it about or encompassing a racial factor. That's discrimination.
Yeah, you have to interview at least one minority, which I just want to make sure that we keeping this consistent, because I think the Rooney Rule is absolutely ridiculous, because you're literally just bringing in the token black guy or the token Spanish guy to interview for a job you had no intent on giving them. So I just want to make sure that that's what we're doing, and this is kind of along that vein, like you're forcing companies again that are ran by billionaire owners and things like that. They should be able to do whatever they want with their company. I know Venkat not going to agree with that, but you're basically telling them, they have to meet this type of quota. I mean, I just feel weirded out with you telling somebody how they should spend their money. And the people that's lying and saying they're going to boycott Target and stuff, you're not. Stop lying. You'll be right there this Saturday spending hundreds of dollars. So just stop, please. Stop. Just stop. What I did want to talk about though, real quick, though, I ain't gonna be up here long, is so about the mass deportations and stuff like that. None of you, I got to give MD credit. Again, I just don't want to, man, because I bet MD just loving this. Um, Obama did deport the most people in, I think it's history. Um, so I'm glad you did at least bring that up, but nobody's bringing, and hey, listen, I'm not agreeing with this at all, so don't think that this is me agreeing with this, but nobody is bringing up the fact that he's specifically targeting like criminals. You guys brought up the Haitian guy earlier who said he's not going back. That guy was a leader of a gang that killed people. All the people that they're getting in these raids, for the most part, so like the border czar did say some people are going to get caught by proxy, because if we know where these guys are, most likely other guys are going to be there, and they're just going to get got by proxy. So I'm not the guy that's going to be like, oh, old lady, come over here to try to seek asylum, and you running away from a war crime or something, you should send her back. That's not what I'm saying, but we would agree that criminals need to be dealt with. We could at least agree on that, correct? I know I'm not saying that's not far, and that's what they're targeting, and they're also targeting the people that already had orders, federally mandated orders from judges to leave, and they're just not doing it. So again, I think the way they're going about it, I agree with Venkat. It's a lot of look at me, make sure your ice vest is on, and we want to make sure you're in the camera because it's just a reality show. I agree with that, but he's doing the same thing every regime before him did, just at a louder, just turned up on 20. But we would agree that the criminals have to go. And Ricardo has been saying it all night. Like we came here, our parents came here, went through all the proceedings, spent all the money that it takes to do it, because it costs a lot of money, and did things the right way. So it would just be like when Biden pardoned all the student loans. I had people telling me that they hated it because they had to pay theirs. So it's literally the same thing right now. It's like, hey, we had to do this and spend all this money and go through the filing process and wait a year just to even get a letter for your interview, because it takes a year just to get the letter for your interview. So you had to do all of that, and it's like you got these people that could come in and just wet foot, dry foot, and they could just do this and they could do that. And I'm not even talking about them, somebody that just want to come make a better life for themselves, because that's what this country was built on. I'm talking about the people that's coming over here doing the child rings. The y'all know what I'm talking about. All the trafficking, all the drug trafficking and things like that. Having people taken out. We can agree that those people need to be gone. Like, why not? I just don't want to get it. I just don't want it to get lost in this. That yes, we know he's a sensationalized person. He's a WWE Hall of Famer. So that's what they do. They go overboard on everything. But he's literally doing the same thing Obama did. Just get rid of the troublemakers. Get rid of the people that already had their day in court, that's already been ordered to be gone, but they just skipped town, or they didn't leave. So they're just saying like, hey, we got all these orders, we're just coming to get you. And so I don't see a problem. The birthright citizenship thing. Now that I heard y'all really say it, I ain't got no argument. I did come up here to argue with MD about it, but I don't have no argument with it, because I feel again it do come off as not being fair. So that's not a hill that I'm going to die on. But I did just want to say that about the criminals, at least. Like, all the people now, it's very unfair that you got the people that's down at the southern border that got into the system. They did what they were supposed to do for their appointments, and now all of a sudden they cut the system off. So these people can't even get their appointments anymore. That's bullcrap. But we can at least agree that the guy that got a bunch of bodies under his belt, the guy that's pushing drugs in the community, the guys that's running the child trafficking rings and the grown up trafficking rings, those people are menaces to society, and those people need to get the hell on. Like, we got to be able to agree on that.
So, Trevor, so you're saying that Obama practically did this at a higher rate and did it effectively and the right way, and it didn't cause a mass chaos, confusion, fear, and doubt, right? So, what is the benefit?
I guess I could say that. I guess I'm saying that.
Okay,
I know where you're going.
So then, what is the benefit of having the dialed up, like you said, and having all this hoopla going on? How does that help the country? And couple it with all the other nonsense that's going on with the birthright, with the financial aids of the government in question, whether that's going to be here, and all the other nonsense that's going on. So
again,
that's complete chaos.
Again, it's who it is, though. It's who it is. I'm glad you brought up the financial aid thing.
Yeah. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. No, because I totally forgot about that. Because I asked them, I said, hey, are these things being taken away, or like what's going on? And I keep seeing all these other reports. I'm glad nobody just matter of factly said that this is what's going to happen, because the one video that I saw from the press secretary, she emphatically said, this is not going away. This is not going away. That's not what we're doing here. But then you see another video saying, oh no, this is what they're going to do. This is what they're going to do. But nothing's really rooted in fact yet. Because but see, that's where I go to, where I can't be the guy that's just going to come up and be like, this is what we're going to do. Because I can't say that. Like, I mean, come on, man, think about it. The biggest welfare recipients are white people. You really think they're going to just completely cut them off? Come on, man. Think about that. Think about what you're saying. Well, you didn't say it, but think about what's being implied.
With the stock market hates unpredictability, surprises, not knowing what's going to happen, right? So when the stock market is in a environment like that, it tends to not go well, right? So for people that are not stocks, but they have their own interests, why would you want your citizens to be in a state of doubt? And are you going to trust 100%? They were already doing the big time criminals and all that other whatever, which I've heard that they don't have a lot of those to get. So it becomes those circumstantial people that may be on record as having a crime, but the crime isn't stabbing a cat in the eye or a person in the face or throat or holding up a bank. It's like a technicality, a traffic violation or something small or minor, and off you go. And
But Venkat,
the thing is, go ahead.
No, but Venkat, that was under every administration. You know, if you go to court, and hey, I've been to court a few times recently. You know, if you go to court, the first thing they tell you is if you're not a citizen, you face deportation, even if it's for a traffic violation. You know that, right? So this isn't something new. This isn't something he made up. This has always been on the books. Hell, I remember. I remember one time I had to go to court for because my license got suspended in 2003, and they just they take care of everybody at one time. You come before the judge, and she was saying that. She was just saying that to everybody. She was like, "Hey, if this is a situation, you could face this." So that's not something new. But I get what you said. Again, oh man, Lash Legend. Whew. Okay, get back focused. What I'm saying, I'm not. I don't. I hope it's not coming off like I'm agreeing with this. That's not what I'm saying.
I understand what you're trying to say. I know what you're saying. I get it. I understand the argument that you're making. I'm just putting my perspective out there too.
Hey, let me say this real quick because Trevor brought up a good point as far as the naturalization thing, right? With and the CPB1 app, with those asylum tickets. Let's say, would you feel some type of way if because those people are in pending status? They're neither citizens nor are they, I guess you would say when we were talking about subject to the jurisdiction. If he starts targeting them people, how would you feel about that?
Well, he hasn't he? By shutting off the app, correct?
Well, that's for the asylum people. The CPB1 app is for the asylum seekers.
Okay, so you mean the people?
Yeah, I
mean
mean like naturalization.
That filed
yeah,
paperwork.
the long way. Yeah.
Well, that'll be crappy, but I don't think you can do that because most of them still have some type of visa to be here while waiting for the naturalization to go through. That's normally
I agree with that. But so do the people that's under asylum pending status.
Hey, the asylum people, that's bullcrap. You can't do it. It's been established that these people get political asylum. You can't mess with them. I mean, well, obviously he's trying to do something different, but yeah, that's bullcrap. I feel terrible about that. But the people that are waiting at the border, like literally just waiting there for like a lottery ticket, I don't know. I don't know if they get. Obviously, they don't get anything to be in the country because they'd be on the other side of the fence. So literally, they're just there waiting for an appointment. Like I see the video of them walking, from other countries coming to the border and then they're basically being turned around. So, I feel bad for them, but it's kind of different. It's like that's different. The asylum people, they're in the system, like as asylum seekers with a pending status. They're not like somebody who is coming in like, hey, I'm gonna scratch this ticket off and see if I could get in. Which they do that. They do, they do the lottery every year. But yeah, that's just different.
Okay.
All right. So
but I'm about to dip. I'm about to dip though, man, because my daughter came in here. I got to put her to bed. So
all right.
Yeah, I'm still listening, but I did want to. I came up here to argue about the birthright thing, but when I thought about it, I'm like, nah, he made a good enough point. I'd just be arguing for the sake of arguing. So
you can't do it, Trent. Don't worry about it. You can't do it.
I wouldn't do
it. FD is wild with it. All right, so let's go. We're gonna get ready to go to session now. Lame duck session. We're talking number 68. Let's get right into it. We ain't got much time. Let's go.
First things first, in this lame duck session.
For the United Nations General Assembly to share the extraordinary progress we've made. In less than 2 years, my administration has accomplished more than almost any administration in the history of our country. America's so true. Didn't expect that reaction, but that's okay.
Right.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
You're trying your best, but it never feels like enough.
I started having second thoughts almost the moment I sat down on the plane.
Lights off! Off! Turn them off. They're too bright. Turn them off. Turn them off. Let's go. Ready?
We go back a long way. She was 12, I was 30, but anyway.
So I changed my return flight and flew back on the first available flight I could take.
I'm sick and tired of smart guys. I'm sick and tired of ordinary people being fleeced. I'm tired of being quiet. I'm sick and tired. I'm just sick and tired. We have this notion that somehow if you're poor, you cannot do it. Poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids.
With great power comes great responsibility.
These lights are so bright in my eyes that I can't see too many people out there. But I can only see the black ones. I can't see any white ones. You see? That's how far I've come. That's how far I've come. That's a long way, isn't it? These lights. You want to see a bird graveyard? You just go. Take a look. A bird graveyard? Go under a windmill someday. You'll see more birds than you've ever seen ever in your life.
Anywho, so at Donald Trump's campaign rally on yesterday, he said some things. And I just don't feel that the things that he said were a slip of the tongue. I believe the things that Donald Trump said, which pretty much confirms that something was on the up and up when it came to the tallying of the votes. He said it because he's comfortable. He knows at this point there's nothing that can really be done. That's what he and his team are thinking, because to be so bold to say what he said during his KKK rally last night, he pretty much came out and admitted that this election was rigged. Those are the words that he used. Take a listen.
It's pretty amazing, but he did that, and then he journeyed to Pennsylvania, where he spent like a month and a half campaigning for me in Pennsylvania, and he's a popular guy, and he was very effective, and he knows those computers better than anybody, all those computers, those vote-counting computers. and we ended up winning Pennsylvania like in a landslide. So it was pretty good. It was pretty good. So thank you to Elon.
But wait, there's more. This really solidified it for me. Really. This really solidified it for me. Take a listen.
Wasserman. They all came in on the Olympics, and then I saw Johnny. And we got the World Cup, too. And, you know, it's only because they rigged the election that I'll be your president representing you there. You know, I got both of them. I got the Olympics, and I got the World Cup. And I said, you know, it's too bad. One was in 2026, and the other was in 2028. And I said, I won't be there. I won't be your president. But then they rigged the election, and now we won, so I'm going to be your president for the Olympics.
Now, when you listen to what it is that he said, it could be one of two things. When he says they rigged the election, as in the Democrats rigged the election, that's why he's now standing there as their president. Who is the they? It could be they, as in people around him, currently rigged this election. That's why he's standing there as president. Which one is it? Y'all let me know your thoughts down in the comments. If you ask me, a guilty mind is speaking. When you give that type of speech and you think back to when Joe Rogan and Elon Musk were having a chat on the Joe Rogan podcast, and Elon Musk, he says Elon Musk basically told him before the results came in that they were going to win. There's that. And then there's, in all of these swing states, Democrats won, but they chose Donald Trump as the president. When you tally up the numbers, the math is just not mathing. It would lead one to believe that when they that he is speaking of are the liars and cheaters and thieves and con men that he has surrounded himself with. The unethical administration. That's what the rest of us think the they is in his statement. Now, of course, I'm not watching mainstream news media. Nope, I am not. But I did go out there to see if news media like the New York Times, the Washington Post, CBS, MSNBC, if they have any type of print news that is discussing this very viral story. Nope, none of them. None of them. There's more news headlines talking about the TikTok ban. Not one. I didn't come across not one that is addressing this very viral story. It is a trending topic. Trump admits to cheating. It is a trending topic with these two video clips. And nope, not being discussed. But y'all let me know. If you guys are watching MSNBC, y'all let me know if they bring this up at all. Anywho, y'all let me know your thoughts. Which way? Do you think what he's saying is being taken out of context? Or do you think what he is saying is confirmation that an investigation needs to be done? That Joe Biden or Merrick Garland, the Department of Justice, somebody needs to say, hey, let's look into this. What is going on here? Why would he say that? Somebody asking questions about what it is that Donald Trump says. An investigation. And if they can provide the proof that no, you guys are taking his words out of context, I'm fair and balanced. If they can provide the proof that the words are being taken out of context, I will more than happily accept it. I willingly accepted that he was the president, even though I knew the math wasn't mathing, even though I felt something wasn't on the up and up. I accepted it.
Together we will rebuild Los Angeles better, more beautiful than ever before. We're going to get it going. We have the best builders in the world. It's the only people that could do it. Nobody else knows what the hell they're doing. And in 2028, the Los Angeles Olympics will be one of the great sporting events and patriotic celebrations in history. I was with Gianni, the head of the Olympics, and because of the wildfires, they're going to do a special job. They're going to really do something very special on the Olympics. And the opposite, some people say, oh, maybe the Olympics can't go there. It turned out just the opposite. They came to see me the other day, and the committee, and it's just the opposite. So the Olympics is great. And Johnny, for the others, you know, the World Cup, Johnny is the head of it. We had our top people, Wasserman. They all came in on the Olympics, and then I saw Johnny. And we got the World Cup, too. And, you know, it's only because they rigged the election that I'll be your president representing you there. You know, I got both of them. I got the Olympics, and I got the World Cup. And I said, you know, it's too bad. One was in 2026, and the other was in 2028. And I said, I won't be there. I won't be your president. But then they rigged the election, and now we won, so I'm going to be your president for the Olympics and for the World Cup. So, Johnny, thank you for the World Cup, and everybody, thank you for the Olympics. We're going to have a great time. We have another thing happening, 250 years, a celebration like no other. 250 years, and that's going to be taking place next year. So we have a lot of big events coming. And everything we do everything. We take it very, very seriously. But what do we do more than anything else? We put America first. And it all starts tomorrow when I raise my hand on the Bible to be sworn as we'll be sworn in tomorrow. We're all going to be sworn in together. That's the way I look at it. It's not me. It's you. Greatest of all time.
All right. All right. There she is. There she is. This one's going to hurt me a little bit more than the usual lame duck. So I got to explain this. I think it should be obvious in the video, but I need to explain this. This is Tabitha Speaks Politics YouTube channel. I actually like this YouTuber. I don't watch her a lot, but the times that I've seen her, I thought she was pretty decent. But what we just witnessed was a blatant fake news, misdirection, just totally misleading her audience. When you see the full video, she's trying to say that Donald Trump, and when she showed that little cut piece, it sounds like, oh my God, Donald Trump is admitting that he rigged the election to win this election of 2024. When you watch the full thing, you understand and see that, no, it's not that at all. It's Donald Trump saying that in 2026 and 2028, if he would have won in 2020, he would be out of office in 2024 and could not be the president during those Olympic years. But because they rigged, or really in reality, he lost in 2020, and now he won again in 2024, he's able to be president during that time period. So she continued to lean in on that misdirect, which is clearly obvious. Donald Trump, he's an older guy, so he says what he says. But if you listen to the full context of it, how could you even try to mislead your audience in that way? So I was extremely disappointed. And this was pointed out to me by a Trump supporter-ish type person that I have debates at work. So I had to tell him, yeah, you're absolutely right. This is, this isn't real. So I just had to explain that if it wasn't clear on the video. So, MD20, what do you think about this trash bag human number 68, lame duck?
Damn, you even called a trash bag human of the week too. Damn, that's bad. And you know, for what it's worth, I do watch Tabitha Speaks sometimes too. You know, she brings up a lot of stuff that a lot of people don't bring up. So I commend her for that. But this was blatant. Like this was blatant. And this is the problem with the incontinuity of a lot of these liberal streamers and YouTubers and independent media personalities. They're sporadic. They're all over the place. Even to a point where they're starting to do things that we saw the right do for 4 years and tried our damnedest to fact check it and you know, call it as mis or disinformation. You know, this is not the strategy to have, folks. It's just not. Another channel that does this a lot, which I mean, since the election, they done fell off and they try to be opposition, is Midas Touch. During the cycle, the election cycle, they did a lot of videos just like this. And you know it, Venkat. I always say, oh, not Midas Touch, blah blah. They done growed on me a little bit. But during the election cycle, during the election, whether it was pre-primary and on up, they were doing a lot of videos just like this. This is not a good strategy, folks. If you savvy yourself a liberal, I expect more of you. I expect you to be more astute. I expect you to actually know what you're talking about and not babble. And I expect you to encompass all of the entirety of the body of the information that you try to provide on a certain topic. You know what I'm saying? This is not it. And coming from her, this is troubling. This is trouble. Like I said, she make a lot of shorts and stuff like that. So I don't catch everything that she do. You know what I'm saying? So obviously this came a little bit after the actually it was the video of the rally before the inauguration. So it was recent. I didn't see this. I knew nothing of it. I looked at it when you put it in the group chat earlier. But I didn't know the context in which you was putting it in. And lo and behold, she's a damn lame duck. That's surprising. So, but that lets you know the road that we going down in 2025. Whereas 2024, the lame duck, you pretty much knew who it was going to be every week. But now, as we see people conform, as we see people retort back to just disinformation, misinformation, trying to play, it's almost like Republicans out left the left in certain aspects, and now you got liberals trying to outright the right. It's not going to work. It's just not going to work. I'm sorry. So if you're going to be anything, at least be truthful, at the very least. Again, your goal is to be opposition, no doubt. But your goal is to be truthful within that opposition. You know what I'm saying? So this is a shocker to me. I knew nothing of it. So if we starting it off like this, hey man, anything can happen in 2025 on TFP. Anything.
Yeah, I was just deeply troubled. I was bothered. Then I was angry. And I've been thinking about it for like the last 4 or 5 days. And I had a completely different lame duck up until about noon this afternoon. And I said, nah, I have to put her in there because this is just screaming duckish behavior.
Yeah,
And
it lies in conspiracy theory. Now,
yeah.
don't get it twisted. If I put my tinfoil hat on and I sit back in my recliner and you know what I'm saying, twist the antennas left or right, do I believe in some form or fashion there was some chicanery, as Ricardo would say, going on? Yeah. Notice nobody's talking about all the bomb threats and stuff that was going on election night. They just swept that under the rug. I'm like, hold on, wait a minute. You know Russia interfere in a lot of polling place, and we just ain't gonna talk about it. So I'm not saying there's no inclination of some dastardly doings going. I ain't saying that. But neither am I gonna say QAnon type conspiracy theories either. And I don't think it's healthy for any liberal to dabble in that. You know what I'm saying? I just don't.
Right. Very right. I mean, as it stands right now, this is how troubling things are. The last 3 lame ducks have been, you could say, Democratic or liberal. Joe Biden being the super duck, Snoop Dogg being the first lame duck of the year, and now Tabitha speaks politics. So there's something deeply wrong here. Why are we doing all this duckish stuff? But Tabitha just really disappointed me because she just kept leaning in on it. And she even said in the video, nobody, CNN, ABC, CBS, nobody, even print media, isn't talking about this. And she's like making this an issue on her channel for viewership. Because when I first heard it, I heard it on my lunch break, just watching her on my lunch break. And when I heard that clip of the video, I'm like, oh my God, what is this? I'm like, I even said to myself, I'm like, I can't believe this is real. Who would do it? Who would say this? And sure enough, when you watch the whole thing, you see that it's some more bull. So, Ricardo, what do you think about the trash bag human of the week, number 68 variety? Oh, we lost Ricardo. Ricardo, you there?
I'm
Okay,
here.
there you go. Okay.
To say the least, but it doesn't surprise me. Again, desperate times calls for the measures, I guess. The Democratic side, it's this whole sobby. We're very depressed. We don't know how to get ourselves out of this funk nonsense that I'm seeing. Again, you're the opposition party, but this is just very sad and what it is. Desperation. It's almost reminiscent of when is it Meadows her name was on NBC?
Rachel Maddow
was like, oh, I have brand news. I have brand new the tax the something pertaining to tax that proves that he did something and it was all and then the next day when she came on, it was like dud. It's like, what are we doing? You really didn't have nothing at all that was concrete or proves a point. It's just coming up with regurgitated nonsense that we already knew, or it's been exasperated in the media. So, you expect better from these correspondents and these news people and all of that, but y'all are just doing too much now. Like, let's get back to basics here. Let's get back to grassroots. How do you combat, the far right and all these people? How do you get everybody back into being galvanized in terms of, okay, they're taking and they're rolling back things and they're doing away with Roe versus Wade and all things that were, liberal principles. What is it going to take to fluster out these, fat cats that have taken over the party and have been doing the most and then get back to the roots and basic. This is Tabitha. You really did disappoint a whole bunch of people with this. This is just kindergarten-esque kind of bullcrap that we expect from, like MD mentioned, the opposite side. And this is what y'all are resorting yourself to doing. It reeks of desperation. It doesn't surprise me, but again, and we got to start putting these people that are doing these kind of nonsense in their place and say, listen, we expect better from y'all. We don't expect this kind of foolishness. It would be like if I saw that what's that station that you always pull up their videos with, Venkat? Is it the Turks, or what do you call that
Oh
station?
yeah, TYT, the Young Turks. Yep.
Them have gone down a road that I don't even know where they even think they're going down at this point. Like, I don't know if they're just asking or what it is, but it's
Which MD has a report on that coming up.
it's like, I don't know what's going. It's like everything has been flipped topsy-turvy, and everything is upside down, and what we think we knew of. It's a whole lot. But I say this to everybody, including Tabitha and crew. Y'all could do a whole lot better if y'all focus and zero in on things, not this kind of nonsense that we see you do, but zero in on things where matters to people. Like, go back to the grassroots if that's what it is. If y'all are missing the mark here on the whole lot. Like, this is not even hard to do. This is like, what I'm saying? Like, this is child's play. Y'all could do better. Like, don't resort yourself to doing this. This is reeking of this point where you just like reach. This is just you overreaching at this point. Do better. Y'all can do better, including Tabitha, TYT, y'all, that one Asian girl that's now on CNN that is doing the where she jumped side as soon as Trump won, and she said it all along. And y'all are doing too much. Like, I need y'all to focus back on the basics. Get to it. In terms of being oppositions, y'all have a midterm election coming up. Focus. This whole flip-flopping and I'm over here and I do this, and it's too much at this point. Just focus, y'all. Get back to grassroots, democratic principles, and figure it out. This is just like you have no one else to blame but yourselves. Y'all let fat cats seeping through the party and do the most, where y'all are doing, just little or nothing to try to, alleviate the issue. Get back to the principles, y'all. It's not that hard. Come on. Like, if the Republicans were doing this for a good while, why can't y'all do it? You lose one time in a good while, and y'all just give up and the world is ending. Get it together, y'all. That's all I gotta say. But Tabitha, you deserve to be a lame duck. Very disappointing. I'm shocked myself, MD, that she's in here. But it wouldn't surprise me if next week we also go through another, lame duck, because this is what Snoop Dogg last week. It's now Tabitha. It wouldn't surprise me who was next week. So, do better, Tabitha. This is disappointing even for you. But I digress.
All right, thanks, Ricardo. And the other thing I do have to say here is that we're dealing with Donald Trump here, people. Donald Trump has a litany of things that you can criticize legitimately about. You don't need to make things up, which makes it even worse. This is Donald Trump we're talking about. I mean, controversies and bull just falls out of his back pocket. It's just all over the floor. You don't have to look hard to find something wrong with Donald Trump. So why create or invent things? Why are we? And MD's right. MD and Ricardo is right about this. Like the left switching and acting like the right, and now we're dealing with conspiracy theories and doing all this other nonsense that's not what the Democrats are supposed to be about. And once you do that kind of crap, now actually what people say is, well, both sides are the same. There was a clear difference between the two parties. But if you're going to mimic each other like this, it's going to be just game over, man.
Right.
So
it's either that, Venkat, what you just stated, or it's that she just didn't do her homework. And that goes back to the point of how
push
much
content out. Yeah.
Right. Pushing content out. We saw so many people, including her, because I didn't know nothing about her until maybe end of 2023. How many commentators, how many content creators came out during the election cycle, and now they're in a position where they're stressing for content, and they see a clip, no context, they speak on it because they think it's going to garner attention. This ain't the time for that, folks. If you're serious about what you believe, and this could go for somebody on the left or the right. If you're serious about what you believe in this political space, at the very least, you can study. At the very least, you know what I'm saying? To at least give me some breakdown on what it is that you're trying to convey. Obviously, she did not do that. I don't, like I said, she looked like a smart woman. I'm pretty sure if she would have had the full context of that video, she wouldn't have did that in good faith. I don't believe she did what she did in good faith. I just don't. You know what I'm saying? So again, man,
MD, you're too
may
nice. You're too nice. She blatantly did that crap, man. I thought about it all week long. She blatantly did that, maliciously did that.
That may be the case, man. That may be the case. So it might be time. Hey, look, Trump won. It might be time to put the microphone down, close the laptop, and whatever and just go back to regular life. It's over with. We'll see you. We'll see you come 2028. Maybe you can ramp back up then. But if you're not going to be foundationally rooted in what's going on in your political reality, ain't no sense of you doing it. You know, the clickbait stuff is over with. It's over with. Time to get serious. And that's part of the problem with the Democratic Party right now. That's just a fact. There's nobody in the forefront, party-wise, that's showing me what the reality is when it comes to our political future. It's not. The closest person that I would say that has been doing it would probably be AOC. You know what I'm saying? Probably.
Right.
You know, Hakeem Jeffries, he does his job by way of a speaker. I mean, minority leader. But I mean, I barely see him or Chuck Schumer, any of these guys. When something happens and there needs to be some type of unified response, AOC is usually the person that I see. So she might be the face. I don't know, but we'll see.
Well, she can't win because she's a woman. You know about American women. They don't vote for them.
Well, there you go.
All right. So we have come to the end of the night here. And of course, we'll do our final sign-offs tonight. So we'll start off with Ricardo. Ricardo, final sign-off, sir.
Yeah, great show. We try to get through as much as we can. We weren't able to do the most shocking thing that came out of yesterday. We're gonna have to touch on this soon, but we have to talk about AI and its dangers with this DeepSeek that literally rattled the entire market yesterday. It was so frightening. It literally turned everything upside down. I don't know. And if y'all don't know what I'm talking about, MD could shed a little bit more light. But it's basically like a GPT version, but a little bit more advanced, coming from the Chinese, that no one really knew.
All right, Ricardo, thank you for that one. MD, final sign-off, sir.
He keep muting in and muting out. Ricardo, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. It's dead
okay,
zone.
all right, yeah. Continue
okay.
Yeah.
Was there anything else there, Ricardo?
No, just that we weren't able to touch on that, but we might have to touch on it soon because MD, it really did a lot yesterday. I don't think we touched on that whole DeepSeek thing with China and its AI, but a lot of people were spooked out by it. It looks like, but we've come to that age and that point in time where technology is now going to be a determining factor, and it's now you're gonna have to weed out facts from fiction here, and it's very scary. So a lot of people can't tell the difference. So welcome to that Will Smith movie with, is it iRobots and Eagle Eye with what's it's literally here. It's not science fiction anymore. It's here. And there's a lot that I keep hearing again with Musk's name being repeated in many political realms around the world. I don't know what it is that he's doing, but he seems to be doing a lot of interference in terms of election, and he needs to be very careful
Yep.
or be careful
Yep.
because there's something very unsettling about this man being so comfortable in certain aspects. And even Canada is about to have its election in the coming months. And they had to do a report today that states that there's a lot of interference from outside parties, particularly him trying to influence people with populism. And it's one of those things where a lot of people are now waking up to seeing that he's a lot involved in a lot of things that, it's very scary. So there's a lot we're gonna have to cover it going forward into TFP, and it's gonna be a lot that we're gonna have to try to maximize in the whole time frames that we have. But keep y'all eyes open and be very keen to certain things because technology is here. It's scary, man. It's literally here. But that's pretty much it. Great show.
All right. Thanks, Ricardo. MD, your final sign off, sir.
Yes, sir. Great show as always, man. Ricardo is absolutely right, man. That whole deep sea thing, it needs to be discussed because I find it funny and ironic that everything that we went through with the TikTok thing, and now all of a sudden, Trump being cool with TikTok. I'm talking about out the blue. I didn't even know what the hell was going on. I'm like, what the hell is deep sea? Just out the blue, it pop up out of nowhere. #1 best-selling app in one day, y'all. One day, best-selling app. Nvidia, the company, the computer, whatever they do, lost damn near $80 billion in one day. They were saying if that would have been like in the 1920s and 30s when the Depression happened, that alone would have set off the Great Depression. Numbers wise, you know what I'm saying? Not
Wow.
counting for inflation.
Wow.
Like we living in some strange times, y'all. And like I said, I find it funny. Nobody knows about this deep sea thing. It just pop up out of nowhere. And I just supposed to accept it and everybody sell off their stock. Mike probably would have been a great co-host tonight to give some more understanding on how, because I ain't that guy. I know Mike is, but again, I just find it funny. We living in some strange times, people. Going to Elon Musk, what Ricardo was talking about. Only in America, only in Trump's America, can you have yesterday be Holocaust Remembrance Day. And we know how much, America covets the Holocaust and never again, et cetera, et cetera. Only on Holocaust Remembrance Day can you have Elon Musk go on a Zoom call in front of a conference of a far-right neo-Nazi German party and talk about we need to cherish and make sure that these countries are for their people. Germany for the Germans and Italy for and the ADL and nobody, they don't say nothing. But let me come on YouTube and say anything talking about JEW, the whole channel is gone. You know what I'm saying? It's gone. Only in Trump's America can that happen. So again, we live in a strange time. I implore you to go to your local Michael's or whatever craft store that you're closest to. Go get your needed materials to weave your handbasket. Because we all going to hell.
Welcome to hell, motherfucker!
And with that, I say peace.
All right. Thanks, MD. Yeah, there were a few topics we didn't get to go into today. We were going to talk about the Trump threat that black guy from Palm Beach. He came and pretty much threatened Trump online. You had Elon Musk, like MD and Ricardo was talking about. There's a video breaking down that. Also,
Trump's third term.
Yeah, Trump's third term, that was also supposed to be covered tonight. MLK, declassification of those files and a reaction on that. And Pete Hegseth, they're going to watch some like footage on his confirmation and the heated moments there. So we are going to do a and also Trump tariffs. That was also one on deck. So I had a whole bunch of videos on deck ready to go. But for a future show, maybe 2 shows from now, around Valentine's Day, we'll do Politics of Sex Part 2. And some of that stuff can overlap into that show as well. So we definitely need to do it. Ricardo's been wanting to do it. So we got to get there. So I think it's that Tuesday will be the 11th of February. So we'll do that show at that point. So
transgenders being banned from the military.
Yeah, that'll go right into Politics of Sex too. So yeah, there's a lot of content for that show. Yeah. So anyway, like to thank everybody for tuning in on another episode. Always have to say thank you to Tequila. She's always great moderator. Mr. Straight Talk, Trevor came on the panel tonight. The numbers always boost, and it literally did when he came on. The numbers did go up. Just saying, something about that guy. I don't know what it is. And peace to Zay, peace to Bones, peace to Nene, and the everyone else associated with Straight Talk. Straight Talk Society. We'll be back next week on TFP. If I forgot anybody, sorry, but it's late. So with that being said, everyone have a nice, safe night, and we'll see you next week. Till then, peace.
Peace.
I just shot myself.
She just said a terrible thing. You know what she said? Shout it out, because I don't want to. Okay, you're not allowed to say, and I never expect to hear that from you again. She said, I never expect to hear that from you again. She said he's. That's terrible. Terrible.